Okay, this should be a really interesting show, to say the least. Ashley's having some technical issues, so I don't know when or if he's going to be joining tonight. So you may be getting just me tonight, and I'll be completely honest with everyone. I haven't watched nearly enough, but I can basically read what happened, and I can just elaborate on where I think things are possibly going. So, welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. My name is Sir Owen, and this is the show where we talk about anything and everything professional wrestling. I am going to do my very best to talk about things that I didn't get a chance to watch. So this is going to be really fun to see exactly how this works out. So bear with me if I am kind of scatterbrained or if I missed a couple of things here and there, because I'm kind of trying to just literally work on the fly right now. I'm getting up as many notes as I possibly can to try to do this show and do the show justice. Hopefully, Ashley will be able to join us in a little bit, and if he is, then will be great. And if not, then wow, this is going to be a weird night. So, if you are new to the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast, welcome. I see Caleb Baloo, the Peeper, is in the chat, so welcome, Caleb. Tonight, as always, we have a little bit of everything. We're going to talk TNA Impact. We're going to talk about Smackdown Live. We're going to talk about UFC. But I'll tell you right now, if Ashley's not here, we're not talking UFC, because that is totally out of my comfort zone, and I have no idea how to even think about discussing it. So we may just skip UFC tonight if it's by myself. We've got Lucha Underground. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch that because I was watching NXT. We have news and rumors. We're going to talk about NXT itself, 205 Live, and Ring of Honor. So if you haven't listened before, you should know right off the top that I am basically telling you that this is a show that is uncensored. But if it's just me on here, then it's really going to be censored because I censor myself. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to work. So let's kick off the show with the first thing that happened. Let's talk a little TNA Impact. So this was the last TNA taped event from Universal Orlando. It was taped the weekend of Halloween Horror Nights. And this is a show I did not get to attend because of the hurricane. This was a makeup day. And the makeup day ended up being a two taping event. One was in the morning, one was in the evening. In the evening, I went to Horror Nights. I wasn't able to go. So basically, what ended up happening was I missed this show, which stinks because I really wanted to see some of this stuff. Technically, I saw one thing because there are 4 matches on this show. And the first match I actually did see because it was on the taping in the morning. So yeah, they taped out of order, and the last 3 matches were something that they played for the second set of tapings. So we come back to start off the show, and there's highlights about what's going on between the DCC and the Hardys. Matt's broken, as we learned at the very end of the show last week. Moose has claimed he has made the Impact Grand Championship the best title in wrestling. He offers out an open challenge. Gee, I wonder who's going to accept it. Sure enough, yes, we get Aaron Rex to come out to accept the challenge. So we get that as our first match of the evening, as my computer is going uber slow for some reason tonight. So I'm going to try to close some things here. So yeah, it's really hard to do this show live because I didn't get a chance to watch this show, so I'm just going to have to dance around with my very slow computer here, which is making the show even better. So basically, this ends up with the match. Round 1, Aaron Rex stalls. He bails out. Moose hits the game breaker, gets the win. 1 minute and 45 seconds is all it took. Not much to it. Basically, it was done to get over Moose. Moose is extremely over in the Impact Zone, or the New Age Impact Zone. And yeah, this was the right direction to go. Like I said before, I saw so many matches with Aaron Rex, and this was not one of them. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went with that. So we pick up a promo with the DCC in the back. They said they're here to drop bodies and they're here to rise. Brother Nero arrives by himself, said there's going to be a title match against two men who survived the final deletion and the Great War. They brawled. Matt came out, made the save. He tosses James Storm. He says his memories have been restored, and he promises deletion. Video package for the X Division title match. So we've got the Team X Gold team forced to face off against each other. DJZ defending against Mandrews and Braxton Sutter. Good stuff here. No surprise to that. DJZ hits a flying body press on both men. Goes for the ZDT, gets cut off by Braxton. Mandrews hits the shooting star. DJZ cradles him and gets the win and retains the title. Decent stuff here. We'll see what we're going with that. Mandrews, of course, officially turned heel, so that's interesting to see where we go with that direction from this moment forward. That happens basically attacking DJZ after the match was over. Not to the delight of Braxton, of course. We get Laurel, Van Ness, and Allie arguing backstage. Highlights from what happened on Thanksgiving. Here comes Maria out with Laurel. She basically says, I'm a charitable person, a role model, but I demand that Allie comes out to the ring. Crowd's chanting for Allie. This annoys Maria, and Allie apologizes profusely for what happened last week with the pie. And Maria claims that Allie is jealous of Laurel. Maria tries to make Allie out to be a liar and then runs her down over and over again. Laurel says her and Braxton went on a date trying to injure Allie's feelings. Laurel wants to fight her, but Maria's like, you know what? I'm just going to run you down. And then Allie finally has enough, absolute outright slash Maria. Laurel lays her out, and they basically leave her laying. So I like this. From what basically we're going to, I think this makes sense to continue with this. Obviously, the end game here is Allie finally getting revenge, first and foremost, on Laurel and Maria. And that is the right direction to go here. We get our tag team title match up next. The Hardys defending against DCC. So good formulaic tag match. So we get to the end here with Matt Hardy getting the hot tag. He starts biting Eddie Kingston and Bram. He sends Storm to the outside. Bram saves Eddie Kingston from the twist of fate. And Brother Nero comes in. We get some near falls from the DCC. Tandem twist of fate to Eddie Kingston. And the Hardys officially retain. So, yeah, decent stuff here. I guess we'll see where this goes, obviously. And the only problem with this, the DCC losing 3-on-2 doesn't really make them look very formidable at this point. I guess it's kind of playing up what they did in the past with like Aces and Eights and the B-Town Clan. TNA does have an issue where they have problems with putting heels over when there is a man advantage, which is interesting because usually the heels would go over in that case. But in this case, not so much. So, yeah. We get EC3 talking to Eli Drake. He mocks him, of course, because he officially has literally shut him up for the duration of the year, which is just this taping in Total Nonstop Deletion. He basically says if he wins the championship, he's going to give Eli Drake a title shot, but all he has to do is say the word. Yes, obviously, he's not allowed to say any words at this point. We get a video package on Al Show and Mahabali Shera. I do not like Shera. I never have. Al Snow sets up a strap match for later on. So that's going to be coming up soon. EC3 comes out. He talks about being the #1 contender. He calls out Eddie Edwards, and the TNA champion basically comes out. EC3 puts him over for beating Lashley because he kind of failed at doing that. Eddie says he's not changed. He still goes out drinking with EC3, but EC3 doesn't plan to lose again. Edwards says it's going to take someone very special to beat me. And EC3 basically said the only thing that means anything to him is the championship. And EC3 says, you know what? I'm not afraid to stab a friend in the back in order to win the title back. So, yeah, we're building to EC3 and Eddie Edwards, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So we get our next match, and it is our main event. And this is a match I was really wanting to see. Knockouts title on the line inside a steel cage. Rosemary against Jade. And this really good stuff here. So we get to the end. A lot of garbage wrestling back and forth, but a lot of good, vicious action between two superstars. Definitely know what they're doing when it comes to a stipulation match, especially in a steel cage. Because don't forget, we go back to the feud that Rosemary had with Allie, and that is a feud that is pretty much finished in a cage. So it makes sense that this match would finally go down the way it is, and this was a good way to end the show and a good way to end this set of tapings. Rosemary ended up hitting a release German suplex, tries to climb up the cage. Jade cuts her off. She gets a nice flying body press off the top of the cage. Only gets a near fall. Jade heads up top. She gets misted, and Rosemary hits the red wedding long day. And we get a brand new champion. So, yeah, I like this a lot. I think Jade and Rosemary are going to have a phenomenal feud. Two superstars that definitely know how to go at it are going to fight. I have no problems with this whatsoever. We're setting up for Total Nonstop Deletion. It's going to come out on December 15th. Looking forward to seeing exactly who shows up at the Hardy compound in Cameron, North Carolina, to face off for the grand championships of the universe, basically. Tag team like Apocalypto, and I'm not talking about that horrible movie. I'm talking about the fact that this is something I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how this is going to work out. It, like I said before, I mentioned this last week. I think I'm going to say it again. It kind of reminds me of the WCW Junkyard battle where almost everybody got hurt because there was bad lighting and you were fighting in the junkyard. So, yeah, that's very interesting. I'm very happy to see this go down the way it is. I'm curious to see what Total Nonstop Deletion has in store for us. So, yeah, we've got a lot of cool things coming right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing where TNA is going from here, to be totally honest. So, yeah, Caleb said he loves WWF. We're going to be talking a little WWE later. Actually, talk a little SmackDown. And yeah, you said you want to go to Horror Nights. It's something I definitely recommend 100% to go to. It's some place that I very much feel at home, and I'm very happy to say that. Couple of news bits from TNA. I'd like to say a little bit more, but unfortunately I cannot, given the fact that I don't know the exact storyline here that's going on. But TNA is going to be back at Universal in January. Yeah, they're going to be taping first week of January. I think this has been officially announced now. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be running from the 4th to the 10th, and that's going to be back at TNA again at Universal. There's going to be a lot of tapings. I do mean a lot of tapings. This is stuff that's going to get them pretty much all the way up to almost WrestleMania time. So, yeah, they're going to be taping one-night onlys. They're going to be taping Explosion. They're going to be taping Impact. I believe, actually, there is a situation that's coming down very soon that makes me believe that they're actually going to be taping a potential live event for an Impact taping. Like, obviously live to tape, but still, nonetheless, I still think that's something that'd be very interesting. So, yeah. I definitely, if it's available for me to go, as long as I don't have to work or anything, yeah, I'm planning on definitely going to this. And it's something that I definitely would like to see. There's a big rumor going on right now. TNA is going to be doing tapings during WrestleMania weekend. And that's pretty much been rebooked. And I think that they're going to decide to do a show. That's pretty much what they're saying. But they're not saying it is a taped show. It might just be some sort of like a house show in the Orlando area for the longtime fans. I don't know how that's going to work exactly, but once we get more information here on the network, I will gladly tell everyone what's going on with that. So, yeah, it should be really cool to see what happens with that. No information on Universal or TNA side yet, but we know that it is coming probably sometime in the next couple of weeks. We'll get more information on the TNA tapings at Universal Studios Florida. So, finally, the last piece of TNA news that we have tonight is the fact that Billy Corgan and TNA have officially settled their lawsuit. Everything's all copacetic finally, or so it seems. So it was settled with Billy Corgan bringing the lawsuit against Impact Ventures, LLC, CFO Dean Broadhead, Dixie Carter, and Serge Salinas. Settled a couple days ago at the Chancery Court of Nashville. The lawsuit settled when Corgan came into agreement with Anthem Sports and Entertainment. Basically, the judge ruled out that Corgan must cover the court costs, and the suit was dismissed without any prejudice. But that also means that Billy Corgan is allowed to reopen the lawsuit somewhere down the line if he wants to. The dismissal only releases TNA, Impact Ventures, and Anthem from future legal claims. That also means Dixie Carter, Dean Broadhead, and Surge could potentially be sued if Billy Corgan decides to do so. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Anthem Sports Entertainment now financially backing TNA in every way possible, and it will be announced very soon officially that they have purchased majority ownership from Dixie Carter. Welcome, Ashley. Or so it seems. Yeah, we're having a lot of issues. We've had a lot of technical issues lately on the network. I'm glad that you guys are sticking with us tonight. The show's going to be all over the place, especially if Ashley's unable to really be a part of it. You end up getting that really wacky first segment. See, here's the thing. Obviously, got a lot of things to do right now. Haven't had the chance to really watch as much as I'd like to. So usually Ashley covers everything, and then I cover the stuff that I am able to watch. Well, I don't really have the time to watch TNA. We're a week behind anyway. So that's one of the things Ashley covers. So because I am ill-prepared, that's the reason why this segment seems so wishy-washy and out there. So my apologies if everything's a little bit crazy. We're going to move on, talking about Smackdown Live now. So interesting. We're just coming off of the pay-per-view, TLC. We got that podcast available if you want to check that out. Which our podcast actually went longer than the actual pay-per-view did. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. So we set up the beginning of the show. Now, it was well written online numerous times that AJ Styles had suffered an injury and he would most likely not be competing against James Ellsworth with the World Championship on the line in the main event. He got pulled off the house shows over the weekend, and he even was walking around SmackDown in a walking boot. So obviously the match was kind of in question, to say the least. So what ends up happening, we see highlights of TLC. AJ walks to the ring. Of course, he's limping. Not selling, it's real. And don't worry, he's wearing tights that don't have a hole in them this time. He got so much flack for that. Oh, my God. Well, wardrobe malfunction I never want to talk about again. So, yeah, it even was talking about it. He said he'd do everything he was going to do at TLC, but he's not medically cleared to compete tonight. So here comes James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth walks the ring. He starts shadow boxing. AJ kind of makes fun of him a bit. And Ellsworth mocks him for being in the boot and says, you know what, you're faking this. And Daniel Bryan's protecting you. And Ellsworth's like, I've got your number. I've had your number. And you're ducking me, AJ. So Ellsworth says, I'm the reason you're still champion. And AJ says, I'm reading this, he's drinking his own gin and tonic. Yeah. He says, you only have what you have because of Dean Ambrose, and you already burned that bridge. And you don't even know when to stop. And when this happens, here comes Dean Ambrose. He lays out James Ellsworth with dirty deeds. And that was the end of that. Good way to start off the show. We get our rematch for the SmackDown Tag Team titles with the Wyatt family, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, with Luke Harper at ringside, taking on the former champions, Heath Slater and Rhino. Very short match, under 10 minutes here. So at this point, hot tag Heath Slater. Never thought I'd say that. He came in like a house of fire. Rhino got sent out to the outside. So, of course, Slater was the sacrificial lamb here. Ray went for Sister Abigail, tagged Orton in. He fit the RKO, and that was the end of that. Apparently, during Talking Smack, which, of course, I did not watch either, it sounds like they're going to split this team. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. And it is furthermore announced later on that they are invoking the Freebird rule when it comes to defending the tag team champions. Because that means that all three members of the Wyatt family are officially tag team champions. And it was mentioned by Daniel Bryan, and it was okay. It was on .com earlier today. And basically is pretty much telling us that we are having the Freebird rule let Orton, Wyatt, and Harper be the tag team champions. Now, that's interesting given the fact that I know a little bit about something like that because I used to manage a team that were the tag team champions, and all four of us were the tag team champions. So I like the direction they're going with this. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Heath Slater and Rhino. And on that note, welcome back, Ashley. I swear, technology just hates me tonight. It just seems like it. This whole week. I just hope this doesn't happen on Saturday. So, yeah. Apparently, there's going to be a rematch with Kalisto and Baron Corbin. Oh, goody gumdrops. We get Carmella and Natalya. This guy's for a double count out. Ashley, are you here?
I'm now.
Good God. Welcome.
It may be secretly because I was waiting for the Joe Nakamura match to be on, but it turns out they're not showing it until actually late on. So much for showing the full match.
We'll get to that later. We're on Smackdown right now, actually.
Down smack.
Welcome Acer to chat. He says, I enjoyed last week's edition of Impact. Great edition of the show. 2 champions coming out. The featured bouts were great. Love the segments that are featured. Acer, I'll say right now, if you've never got a chance to go to TNA Live, I'd say you need to go, especially if you like the television product, because it's even better when you're able to experience it live.
Have we already covered Impact?
Yeah, we're done. We're on SmackDown now.
Damn it.
That's what happens when technology.
Then again, this past week didn't have really that much Hardy video stuff, really, did it? Because obviously they were in action in the ring instead. So
correct, and I already covered that. So now we're on.
Shit. Yeah. Therefore, last week was shit. Apart from, the cage match with Rosemary and Jade. I probably did steal the show. I find this weird though. How they taped this 4 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
And it will now be seen by people that TNA is copying WWE because they had the women main event. And because they had a squash match with Moose and
Aaron Rex.
Aaron Rex in like 2 minutes. Which was recorded 6 weeks before Survivor Series.
Yeah, I know. I was there.
No, but it's just that added fact that the people that are stupid will go, oh my God, they're copying WWE.
I know.
What, they copied them via a crystal ball and a goat sacrifice or something?
They're always, Ashley, they're always going to complain. And Acer says he wished TNA would tour Canada. That would be a great idea, but right now, I guess we'll see what happens, like we talked about a little bit ago, with Anthem, because maybe Anthem will put them back on the road again. Who knows?
Who fucking owns the thing? Anthem. Who runs the Fight Network? Oh, by the way, they have a shit ton of wrestling in Canada.
Yeah.
It would make sense for them to do a show in some medium to smallish arena in Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver or somewhere, close to the border.
I'd support TNA coming over to Canada for you, Acer.
Toronto would probably be the easiest in terms of travel, I would argue, because isn't that closest to the border? Would Montreal be?
Well, I mean, Ontario, yeah. I mean, Ontario is closer to the border. Acer says
East Coast, so.
Acer said he enjoyed TLC. Talents worked hard. 2 champions being crowned. Most of the featured bouts are great. This week's SmackDown was solid. I'm glad to have you back tonight.
Where are we in the Smackdown stuff?
Carmella and Natalia just had a double count out. And that's the end of that. And then we're moving on.
This fucking shit.
See, I told you it was uncensored.
It wasn't even a double count out because I don't think the bell rang. This wasn't even possibly a match. I don't know.
It says 1 minute and 15 seconds.
All I know is that bloody Nikki backstage just going, I can't believe what she said, and then walked away. It's like, whose fucking side are you on? You know, they're doing this perfect because everybody's going, it has to be Natalia. And everybody's forgotten about the bitch with the red hair.
No, they haven't.
Well, I haven't.
No, we haven't, obviously.
Fucking Big Damo! Sorry.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, just this whole storyline. Why is it continuing, even though it's going to be in the form of a tag match? Because, and we got the Prancer Donna Blitzen, I guess, interviewing Corbin, saying, you know, everybody's going to get massacred. Good old Corbin sounds like every single generic promo that I've seen from old school WWF promos from the 1980s. Not talented.
Hold on, Ashley. Acer has a comment here. This is interesting. Who attacked Nikki? Is it Carmella, Natalia? Is it some SmackDown star? Maybe it's Eva Marie, like you said. It could even be Mickie James.
No.
Yeah, Acer, I went to Windsor, Casino Windsor. So, yeah, I've been there before.
If you did that, the payoff would have to come in 4 months. Because I've got a feeling Mickey's going to come in for the Woman Classic or whatever the hell they call it.
Correct.
And then she'll stay around after Mania time.
Yes.
They wouldn't drag it out until then.
I approve of this for a lot of reasons.
Because Magnus would be dissuaded.
Yeah, that's a good question, Ashley. Do you think Nick Aldis will end up signing with NXT?
Yeah, obviously, because then it'll be him. He'll team up with Samoa Joe and Austin Aries,
yes,
and Eric Young, and we get a TNA invasion. Because if it's good enough for WCW 20 years ago, it's good enough for WWE.
Interesting way to look at it. So we get the Ascension.
And then rather being like they keep implying, the feisty woman's coming. And everyone's, thinking it's Dixie. And then they find out it's Christy Hemme.
It would work if you want to do that.
He's coming for revenge. I don't know, I'm pitching ideas. The reason why I'm saying all this is because I don't want to talk about the Ascension's promo. Because fuck it. Oh, and then the Hype Bros talk. Also, fuck it. This is a fuck it match. The Ascension of Connor Fuck It and Victor Fuck It versus the Hype Bros of bloody fucking Mojo fucking Fuck It and Zack Ryder because he has class.
Zack Ryder deserves better than this.
One of these things is not like the other things, but the other way round.
Well, Ashley, you got to understand, Rick Victor has got a lot of talent. They're just not really doing anything with him.
I swear, oh my God, I swear that fucking match happened in Japan. Sorry, I'm just distracted by NXT.
It was a fun show tonight. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Oh,
let's get to Miz
already
TV.
Turning to be better than most of SmackDown.
Miz TV with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, Miz is shocked that there's no "you deserve it" chant for his title retention. And then Dean comes in, and obviously Miz is asking about, what the hell happened with James Ellsworth. And he's like, he isn't happy, And Miz is like, you walked away empty-handed, but not anymore. And we've actually got the Miz Participation Award. It's going to be a real thing, I guess. And the crowd, for some reason, chant "you." Yeah, so Ambrose getting a stupid mocking award from Miz deserves a "you deserve it" chant.
Houston, you let me down.
These cunts in Houston do not know what they're fucking talking about. Case in point, the cock up that WWE made for the second week running with 205 Live, but we'll get to that. Oh shit, it's that match. Because Daniel Bryan's music then hits and says, in the main event tonight, it's going to be Ambrose versus Miz, and Miz is like, "You bastard." And then Bryan goes, "How about we make it an IC title match?" So that's happening. I'm trying to remember, was Miz hurt?
Well, I mean,
was Miz hurt, or did he say "motherfucker" fakingly?
You don't do that, though. That's how you get fired. I have a feeling he tweaked his name.
Yeah.
Nothing really to do much, but still.
Speaking of tweaks, Kalisto versus Baron Corbin. Why are we having this again for the 39th time? Like, seriously. Baron wins with End of Days. That's all I want to talk about, because fuck that guy. If he's so good, he should be like bloody Braun Strowman and already be gunning for the world title. Otherwise, why the hell are we pushing him?
I still can't answer that.
I'm already fearing that. Well, no, I'm fearing and also rejoicing that Braun Strowman's going to win the Andre the Giant thing at WrestleMania.
Oh, no.
Well, you know what happens when you win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, though?
Right, but...
Fuck all. They did nothing for Cesaro, did nothing for Big Show, did nothing for Baron Corbin. I want Braun Strowman to win it year after year, so he's fucking stuck in mediocrity.
Well, the problem with that, Ashley, is the fact that they're stating right now that the big rumor is it's going to be Roman and Strowman. Not me to make that rhyme.
For what?
To give me a reason to go to the bathroom or get
Anal
merch
cancer?
or get a Pepsi?
Anal cancer?
I just mentioned reason why. Bathroom break, Pepsi,
a reason for tuberculosis to exist? I don't know. Why Jimi Hendrix committed suicide at the age of 27?
Oh boy.
Yeah, everybody that died in the 27 Club was because the fact that Braun Strowman's going to get a main event push against Roman Reigns.
No, I didn't say it was a main event push per se. I said that's the match they're looking at.
Well, it has to be a main event push, surely.
It's not for the title.
Oh, it will be.
God, I hope not. God, no.
That'll be the worst title match in the history of the Royal Rumble. I want it to happen. It'll be fucking beautiful.
No.
Oh, wait. Here's the fucking what the fuck is this moment of the week?
Okay.
Fucking Nikki Bella backstage. Then some 10-year-old bitch off fucking YouTube walks up to Nikki Bella, some Sophia Grace or whatever the fuck her name is. And Nikki's like, oh, I'm excited for your new song coming out. Hugged her and like high-fived her and like that was it. What the fuck was this shit? I'm pretty sure most of the people that watch Smackdown, even kids, don't know who Sophia Grace is, because all there is on bloody YouTube is watching bloody, videos that are not even relevant to things you're actually interested in. Oh, am I talking bad about YouTube on YouTube? Oh, wait, please press the bell button so you follow all our stuff because YouTube's incompetent. Shoot.
Yeah, I know a lot of people's videos that are suffering right now because YouTube is giving them issues.
Holy shit. It's American Alpha versus Breezango of sorts coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, Breeze versus Gable with Fandango and Jordan in the respective corners. The way this apparently got set up, I don't know whether this was in the 10-minute pre-show, which we'll get to in the news. Breezango were dressed as policemen.
Yeah, they're fashion police now.
Yeah, they pulled over American Alpha for their fashion choices. So that's why we had a match.
I like this.
So
I'm sorry.
The people that wear multicolored clothes pull over a team that wears multicolored clothes. Wow. The bloody NXT announcers changed sex. We'll get to that.
Okay, Ashley, we got a couple comments from Acer real quick. I wish WWE would do more with Connor and Victor. They're good, especially Victor. Yeah, Victor's really good.
Yeah,
not just because he's not just because he's Canadian, Acer. Victor's really good. They said NXT dropped the ball on him after NXT. I totally agree with that, and I think I said that several times. Gallows and Anderson need to establish them as two badasses, and WWE screwed that up. Yep, that's correct. Acer says, "Good God Almighty, it's a 10-year-old female superstar, Sophia Grace. Let's discuss bad about an unknown kid. She's British. She's got a family. Damn it.
She's British.
Apparently.
Oh, she can fuck right off to Cunt Town. Then the stupid bitch.
I like funk right off.
Hang on. Oh, I've got a big hit single in America. It didn't even fucking chart over here. Why the fuck are you going for America when you're not even fucking popular in the country that you're from, you stupid bitch?
Oh, this is the reason why I can't do this show by myself.
You know who's had more of a hit single than you, Sophia Grace, in England? Fucking Fandango's music.
That is a shoot.
It got like number 40 something in the charts 3 years ago around WrestleMania time. Fucking hell.
Let's make that happen again, Orlando. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this properly.
I need now to look up this girl and find out who the fuck she is.
She apparently was on Ellen too. That's another thing that Acer said in chat. I don't know. And we move forward to.
She's having a hit single, and she's fucking 13. Get a fucking education first, otherwise you'll be like Bieber, sex and drugs, and you'll be dead by the age of 20. Fucking hell. Third single this past year. When the fuck were the other two? What the fuck is this? What the?
Fair point.
Oh, look, she was announced to be Little Red Riding Hood in Into the Woods, and then they didn't choose her. Fuck you! That's what you get. Oh, I'm famous. Even Disney went, nah, fuck off. Holy shit. They launched fucking singing dolls of them 2 years ago. Number 87 in the American charts. Where are the British figures? Nobody gives a fuck about her here. Holy shit. I'm ranting more about this 10-year-old fucking kid than the wrestling.
Yes, you are.
So, I just thought she was American because I just saw her face and she just like, well, that looks like a face that needs to be punched. It's got to be American. Turns out, nope, it's actually a British kid. Fucking hell.
For sake of argument, Ashley, judging by just reading this recap, it was a short 2.5-minute match. Apparently, I have a feeling we're going to get Fandango and Jason Jordan next week because they had an altercation outside. And it sounds like Gable won with the Chaos Theory. So I'd like to have seen this match because I like both of these guys.
Wait, she's at fucking Hairspray Live? Martin Short, if you're listening to this, punch her in the face for me, please. Her fucking cousin is only 10. What? And she's singing bloody Nicki Minaj songs. Yeah, about dicks and cunts and boobs. Hey, kids, just sing about that. You'll become a multi-millionaire music star. Fucking hell.
Acer's marking out for your angry rant.
I thought she was like a bloody... What was her name from Camp Rock? Like Vanessa Hudgens?
Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato? Yeah, she was like 15 or 16. I didn't realize she was as young as fucking 13.
She's got her whole life ahead of her.
No, she hasn't. She'll be dead in 7 years.
I don't know that.
If it happens, we're replaying this clip.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah. And just in the background will be, in the arms of an angel.
Ashley's in pure form tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
God damn it, if only I had alcohol, we'd be up to...
As always, the opinions of Ashley do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Popcast Network.
But they should.
They might, you never know. But still. And we have a Smackdown to continue. Alexa Bliss is having a celebration after winning the championship.
Ding dong, the Witch's champ. So, and apparently now it's Wizard of Oz, not Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah,
what?
That makes sense.
This little bitch now runs the whole division.
I support this.
I wouldn't go that far, Alexa. You should have just stayed. You should have stayed out of kayfabe like you did on Sunday, because that made me root for you. Yeah, because you're going back to Harley Quinn, Alexa Bliss. Fuck off. That gimmick isn't going to be relevant in a month. Unless Alexa changes tack, she's going to get left behind. Becky interferes, and there's Becky basically wants a rematch tonight, and Bliss is like, all right, we'll do it. Nah, we won't. The way she acted in this was good, but the promo stuff, it still needs tweaking.
Right.
It's getting better, I'll admit that, but I don't think she should be the poster girl, woman, if you will. for the brand just at this moment. I think the problem is you couldn't do it because then it would overshadow Mania. But if you did the title change at Mania, with a heel win for her, Orlando would go fucking ape.
I'm sure.
But, and the other issue that she has is because this is another one of Vince's, oh, look, she's a bodybuilder. Because wasn't Alexa the one that came from the Arnold Classic?
Right.
And I think wrestling fans, both, in the know, like me and you, Owen, and dunderheads that just watch Monday Night Raw, know that I think they actually want to see women wrestling now, rather than just being Lana and that bloody storyline, which I already, was sort of on Monday.
Well, I mean, Alexa can work though.
Why else is Nikki Storm in NXT? Why else is Athena in NXT? Why else is Asuka in NXT? Billy Kay.
Crazy Mary.
Yeah, Crazy Mary. Who's the one with Billy Kay?
Peyton Royce.
But yeah, she's from the indie scene.
Yep.
Hell, Kimberly that we saw tonight. Cheerleader. No, it wasn't Cheerleader Melissa. It was Nicole
Matthews.
Nicole Matthews last week.
Yep. Oh, that's good. Ashley's trying to make a point, and then obviously he gets kicked off. That's even better. Yeah. He's got a lot more to say before he's all said and done, obviously. Guess we're going to move forward real quick to the main event. 13 minutes, almost 14-minute match. The Miz defending the Intercontinental title against Dean Ambrose. Of course, no shock here that James Ellsworth ended up getting involved. So we'll set up the finish here. Ambrose hits Tope Suicida, and he didn't sell that the Miz worked his knee. Miz gets the grounded DDT, gets a near fall. He is hitting the Daniel Bryan stiff kicks, the roundhouses, and then Ambrose rolls him up for a near fall. Ambrose hits the Nigel, goes up top for the standing elbow drop. Miz cuts him off. He hits the Recycle knee, and here comes James Ellsworth. Ambrose rolls him up 1-2 and a kick out, and of course Miz ends up taking advantage of the distraction, hits the skull crushing finale, and retains the championship. Yeah, I don't mind this, but like I said, James Ellsworth is going to become David Arquette if it's not too obvious at this point. I really think that's the direction we're going with this. I thought, honestly, if AJ would have been cleared, that they would have flipped the title on Ellsworth, but that didn't happen. I have a feeling that the rose is falling off the bloom rather quickly, and James Ellsworth will probably not be a thing. He won't be a thing after Mania, I can say that right now. I think at the Royal Rumble, he just gets destroyed by Dean Ambrose, and maybe Ambrose just puts him out of the company, something like that, some sort of storyline there. I don't think James Ellsworth makes it to WrestleMania at this point. He might, if he's going to do a blow-off match with Ambrose. Ambrose gods him into some sort of a crazy stipulation match where, of course, he absolutely destroys James Ellsworth once and for all and gets his heat back. Not much you can say about this, really. I don't mind this. Obviously, The Miz tweaked his knee somewhat at TLC with coming off the ladder, and yes, he cursed. Everyone heard that. Anybody could hear that, actually. But yeah, I like this because Miz winning in nefarious means is a good thing for his character. I think it works really well. and they basically had to pretty much rewrite the show because of the injury to AJ, because you would think that they were going to set up that AJ Ellsworth match that was going to be the main event, and that's the direction they were going, but they had to book on the fly, and they had to flip everything around. So I'm curious to see where we go from here, and where everything goes down with James Ellsworth moving forward. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with this. Miz retaining Dolph Ziggler, interesting thing here. I want to mention him real quick. After what happened at TLC, I think that Ziggler has a couple options at this point. He needs to go to Raw. He needs to potentially do some. I'd like to see, honestly, at this point, send Dolph to NXT. I'd love to see Dolph Ziggler work with some of the stars of NXT. I'd love to see Dolph Ziggler against like Bobby Roode, or Dolph Ziggler against Ty Dillinger, or Dolph Ziggler against Samoa Joe. That's something I'd really like to see. Dolph Ziggler and Samoa Joe would be amazing. I think right now would be a good direction to take it, especially the fact that Dolph's kind of not knowing where he wants to go right now as a character. So, yeah, I'm curious to see where we go from here, honestly. Acer says, solid IC title match between Ambrose and The Miz. Maurice helped a bit in the favor of The Miz, and, of course, James Ellsworth had to cost Ambrose. I think that's probably what we're going to get for quite a while, to be totally honest. Whether you like Dean Ambrose and James Ellsworth feuding, or you like James Ellsworth being in the company at all, then get used to it, because it's not going anywhere anytime soon unless they decide to outright squash the angle. So like a solid addition to SmackDown. Sometimes makes me wish I would have been able to watch it. So I like what they're doing with Freebird rule for the Wyatt family. I think that works really well, and it's going to be interesting to see who the next challengers are going to be after American Alpha, or secondary challengers, secondary babyface challengers, because it's not official if the Wyatts are face or heel. They're kind of in that tweener group right now, but I know a lot of people don't really like that terminology, but it's pretty much the best way to describe it. I like what they did with AJ. He didn't come off looking bad. A good promo to start off the show. Natalya and Carmella, I do not care. Hype Bros winning. I wish Zack Ryder would just leave Mojo, like do something else. I think they should turn Mojo heel and have that be the Hype Bros losing the match against the Wyatt should be what turns Mojo heel. And how about this? How about a Goth Mojo Rawley in the Wyatt family? Yeah. There you go. And maybe Zach could get like Dolph Ziggler together. They could like go after the Wyatts. I mean, something like that. I mean, that's like spitballing, probably crazy to even say that. But at any rate, I want Zack Ryder away from this team. I think he deserves to be doing other things in the division, maybe competing for the Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, that makes sense to me, given the fact I'm a Zack Ryder fan. And obviously, I think he deserves more than just teaming with Mojo. This throwaway team doesn't really matter. I think they need to build more heat on the Ascension. They haven't really done anything. Fandango and Tyler Breeze, they definitely need to put some more heat on them. I think they should. This Fashion Police gimmick kind of works. They kind of reminded me of like the Disco Inferno, Alex Wright, Dancing Fools team from WCW, but with completely different work rate when it comes down to it. I guess you kind of look at it that way, honestly. Really, if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense from that perspective. Alex Wright was a model, and Disco was the dancer. Oh my God, they are the Dancing Fools. WCW is booking WWE again. But yeah, Kalisto and Corbin, the feud that never ends. I hope that it's over soon. I hope they blow it off really quickly. Corbin moves on to something else. I think Corbin should just like give it up and just go straight to Raw. I think Corbin would be a great thing on Raw. Move Braun Strowman to SmackDown. Yeah, let's just flip the monsters. I think that would work really well. Breeze and Gable, something like that, a good match. I like the idea of Breezango taking on American Alpha. I think that's going to be a good secondary feud for them as they're waiting for their shot against the Wyatts. I think that worked really well. I like Alexa on top, not just because I'm a fan of her work. I think that it's a good idea to have Becky chasing the championship for a while, and I think that's the right direction to go with it. And a solid TV main event. So, yeah, it was a decent addition to SmackDown, and, yeah, that's pretty much the end of that, so. Acer says Ellsworth is a contracted SmackDown superstar. It'll be interesting to see where they go with him. And yes, just like I said, Zack Ryder does need his rematch for the Intercontinental Championship, which he never really got after he lost the title. I remember, and you guys probably remember, if you remember the WrestleMania 32 podcast, where I went absolutely insane when Zack Ryder won Money in the Bank. well, it would have been Money in the Bank, won the ladder match, obviously, to win the Intercontinental Championship, and then The Miz just took it from him pretty much right away, and Zack Ryder really kind of went down the card after that, and then they traded him to SmackDown, or they went to SmackDown based on the draft. But yeah, the thing is, I like Zack Ryder a lot, and I really wish they'd do more with him. I think that Ryder and The Miz would be a really good secondary feud for the Intercontinental Championship in the meantime. I think that's the right direction to go. And they can play up the real-life situation between Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder. Everybody knows it, especially the people that see True Long Island Story, that Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler are great friends. The Miz is actually is the third member of that group, too. So I'd love to see this transition from a Dolph Ziggler Miz feud to a Miz Zack Ryder feud. And this can lead to Daniel Bryan being in Zack Ryder's corner or giving him tips. And then, of course, that builds up and builds up with Daniel Bryan being the reason The Miz gets eliminated from the Royal Rumble. And yes, we get The Miz and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 33. And that's exactly the direction we should go with this. But if you don't want to pull the trigger on Bryan, I mean, the best way you can do here is you can have Zack Ryder be the guy that faces The Miz. And I think that would work too, honestly. That would work quite well. But I guess we'll see where we go from here. So we are moving forward now to talk about the next thing here on the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, and that usually is UFC and Lucha Underground. Yeah, Ashley is the one that covers UFC and Lucha Underground, so I guess we're going to move over to, we're going to go all over the place here, and we're going to talk about 205 Live. Once again, there are things that we're hearing, pictures we've seen of 205 Live has, a second that it ends, what happens? They leave. If people are leaving, they're not staying for the Cruiserweight show. There was more into it this week, but that was pretty much all you could say. So, this is really hard tonight, obviously, because I'm having to bounce everything around, given the fact that Ashley was supposed to be here tonight. He's having a lot of technical problems. Hopefully we don't have these issues on Saturday, like I said before. So Austin Aries back on commentary again with Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo. I'd like the fact of Austin being devil's advocate here, basically calling out Mauro's contract being in limbo. So Mauro quickly changes the subject. Aries is gold on commentary. I like this because Austin Aries on commentary reminds me a lot of Bobby Heenan, actually. I think that's a really good comparison. Austin Aries puts a lot of Bobby Heenan in his commentary, and I think it really comes through really well. We get our opening match, but first we see Cedric Alexander in the back with Alicia Fox, and you probably should get away from that quickly. But on the bright side, it is a storyline for the Cruiserweight division, and that is a good thing in this case. So Alicia Fox basically wishes him good luck and kisses him on the cheek. And Cedric Alexander facing off against Noam Dar. This match was good as well. I like this match a lot. I really like Noam Dar here working divorce court and Mauro calling out beautiful Bobby Eaton. I thought that was really well done. Good heat on Alexander, and he basically worked the arm pretty much the whole match. He finally came back into it, and there was a lot of great things that came out of this match. One thing is when Cedric finally got his shine back, he went for the handspring, and Dar kicked him in the face, got an ear fall out of it, went for the Fujiwara armbar. He gets countered in a roll-up for an ear fall on Dar. He runs in, catches the boot, split-legged moonsault, but he lands on his feet. So he pulls him into the ring post, and Noam Dar hits the running single-leg drop kick and wins the match. Really good match. I liked it a lot. So it was a good, solid opener. I just wish the crowd was more into it. Video profiling Mustafa Ali coming through the division. Looking forward to that. Should be fun. Mustafa really came through during the Cruiserweight Classic, and I'm really curious to see what they do with him when he actually gets brought up to the main show. Not the main roster, but the main show. TJ Perkins in the back. He wishes Rich Swann good luck. He says, you got lucky on Raw last night, but you need to watch your back, obviously. So interesting they're putting those little seeds in there about TJ Perkins wants another match. somewhere down the line. Obviously, he has to earn another one, given the fact that he lost his title opportunity, his title rematch. But still, we'll get to that another time. Ariya Daivari's back in against Jack Gallagher. They faced off 3 times in wow. They faced off 3 times so far, and that was in a week. So last week's debut of 205 Live on Raw last night, and now tonight. So yeah, heat on Gallagher right away. He works on the leg, obviously, because Daivari kicked out the knee out on Raw. So obviously we're continuing another storyline. Shock, surprise storylines in the Cruiserweight division. I think if they want people to care about the Cruiserweight division, they got to continue these storylines. I think it makes perfect sense here. So, this match was good for what it was. I enjoyed it for the most part. Daivari ripped off the bandage, and he starts destroying the knee. Gallagher hits the forearms, and a very, very stiff headbutt, which looked like Daivari's running lights got dimmed, but no, he actually kicked out off of it. So Gallagher got one of those rolling crucifixes, like the same thing that Austin Aries used to do. Aries didn't call him out on it, surprisingly enough. And after the headbutt, he goes for the running drop kick, or he's setting up for the running drop kick, which is another Austin Aries move, of course. Daivari goes after the knee, hits the frog splash, and gets the win. In the Indies, he used to do this with a magic carpet. It was called the magic carpet ride. I guess they've now coined the term Persian lion splash. So good win for Daivari. Kind of needed this here. Jack Gallagher looks great in the ring, as always. A good, solid way to introduce a new crowd to Jack Gallagher that is unaware. So then we get our main event, and what a main event this was. So Rich Swann apparently is now just, no matter if we like it or not, he is now the outlandish Rich Swann, and I don't know why they came up with such a name for this. But that's what they're going to call him, and that's pretty much what we have to call him, because that's just pretty much how it works now. So Aries and Perkins were throwing shade back at each other on commentary, which is building the fact that Austin Aries, when he is able to compete, I want to see Aries as the champion in this division. I want to see Aries and Perkins, Aries and Swann. I think Aries needs to take the title, and he needs to just be the guy that just can stop everybody, and everybody's gunning for Austin Aries. I think that's the right direction to go. It's funny because Perkins talks about winning the Cruiserweight Classic and going through as many superstars as he did, and Aries like, well, you never beat the greatest man who ever lived. So I like this. This worked really well. So this is the rematch, Rich Swann versus the Brian Kendrick. A good, solid match here. A lot of good stuff. The first thing I want to say of note is Kendrick hit the slice bread number 2 on the outside. Thought that worked really well. He beats the count and goes for a near fall. So he looks up for grounding Swann. Smart move there, really. Kendrick with a release dragon suplex into the captain's hook. And that worked really well. Swann did a really great standing Phoenix Splash that he also is using on when we're talking about NXT in a little bit. And I thought that worked really well. That was on the outside. I thought that a very awesome move. Swann is a Tiger Driver, gets a near fall, and he's jumping up, getting ready to go for the standing 450 splash, but Kendrick cuts him off, rolls him into a cradle, and Swann actually goes back to his indie style, which was really well done. I'll talk about that in a minute. Interesting thing, when this happened, there was an Austin Aries chant at one point, and Aries actually brought it up, so that's funny. He said that Rich Swann had Kotex inspired gear, because obviously Kotex gives you wings, and he has the wings on the side of his gear for some reason. This was countered, and like I said, Swann broke out the chicken fried driver, which I don't think they're definitely going to call it that in WWE, but that's what it was. It gets a near fall off of that. I thought that worked really well. They counter back and forth. Kendrick gets the captain's hook. Swann fights it out, but he gets trapped in it. And then Swann tries to escape from it. Kendrick gets rolled to the outside. Swann gets a big boot, and Kendrick ends up getting posted. Kendrick sends him into the ring post and shoves him into TJ Perkins on the outside. So he works the Dragon Sleeper, and he gets back in the ring. And, of course, when he gets back in the ring, he is surprised by the overhead hook kick. And Rich Swann retains the title. A good 13-minute match. Fans were really into it. I thought that worked really well. Good stuff here. Interesting thing, Perkins got super kicked accidentally. Thought that worked really well by Swann. So there's heat there now. Obviously, it's accidental, but it still worked quite well. It was a really good showcase for the show. When it comes down to 205 Live, the reason that it's going to get over or it's going to die 1,000 deaths is either the crowd's really going to have to get into it. I said before, SmackDown was basically taping this like they used to tape the old ECW, and I think that's probably the direction we're going with this. A good opening match. Not much heat to it, but a lot more heat than last week. So it seemed like a lot more people stuck around, even though the pictures that we saw on a lot of the websites basically showcased that there was a lot of people that just skipped out. So Gallagher and Daivari, we have a solid feud now. Daivari gets the wins. Obviously, that had to happen for the feud to continue. Swann and Kendrick put on a solid match, and Swann proving why he is the rightful Cruiserweight champion right now. Not the last time we'll talk about Rich Swann. We'll actually get to him a little bit later. So, couple bits of news real quick. Interestingly enough, Chris Jericho is going to be retouring back with Fozzy after WrestleMania 33. Welcome to Rockville. Late April, they've been added to Rocklahoma and Carolina Rebellion in May. They've officially signed a record deal with Century Media in October, and they're going to be recording a new album. Jericho will be putting out a brand new book, No is a four-letter word, How I Failed Spelling But Succeeded in Life. It's coming out in August of next year. So a lot of people are thinking that this is going to end Jericho's run at WrestleMania. So Jericho's final match in WWE for the time being looks like it's going to be at WrestleMania. So, yeah, if you're going to be able to check out that show, probably the last time you're going to see Chris Jericho for a while. So, interestingly enough, I'm going to mention a couple more things while Ashley's here. The Fine Brothers have this thing called Celebs React, and I think the React videos are great. They've actually combined with WWE to do a couple Celebs React. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Chris Jericho, Enzo and Cass, Kofi Kingston, Alicia Fox, Rusev and Lana, Sheamus and Titus O'Neil did a Don't Laugh or Smile challenge. And then they did a Bean Boozled challenge as well, which is really interesting seeing the WWE superstars play Bean Boozled. Yeah. If you want to see the videos, WWE has short form that are available on their site. But if you want to see the full show, check out Celebs React on Full Screen Entertainment. So, yeah. Survivor Series has travel packages went on sale. The show is going to be in Houston November 19th. Travel packages went on sale literally yesterday. You can pick up your travel package, SurvivorSeriesTravel.com. A lot of really cool things out of this. They have a VIP package that includes Survivor Series tickets, NXT tickets, Raw tickets, and SmackDown Live tickets with a Sunday breakfast, 3-night hotel accommodations, or you can get a 4-night hotel accommodations. It's a pretty decent deal, to be totally honest. VIP
11 months. 11 months.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
People are
why
stuff now.
That means that it's more important than WrestleMania, because WrestleMania tickets don't go on sale until 6 months before the fucking thing. No?
I think it's because the fact that they know they're running Houston, so they're just going to just kill two birds with one stone and release the packages now.
Why haven't they
done it for SummerSlam? Probably in the next couple months.
They don't have the SummerSlam.
Incidentally, if you want VIP package prices, it's going to start off at one person is $1,950. That's obviously $1,950. This is per person. 2 is $1,550. 3 is $1,450. 4 people is $1,350. And that the 4-night accommodations, it jumps up to $2,375 for one person to get that 4th night, to get that SmackDown ticket in. $1,875 for 2, $1,675 for 3, $1,575 for 4. This includes Ringside seats with a collectible chair, rows 1 through 5 for Survivor Series, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, and that breakfast. If you go for the gold package, you're going to get seating in the 100 level for everything I just mentioned. Those ticket prices a little bit cheaper, $14.75 for the gold for one person, $10.75 for 2 people, $9.75 for 3, $8.75 for 4. And if you want that 4th night to go see SmackDown, it's $18.50 for 1, $13.50 for 2, $11.50 for 3, and $10.50 for 4.
$10 per person. I love it.
I wish it was.
$10.50.
Big E just revealed on Twitter that he now has a custom fanny pack. Have you heard about this?
Oh, what the fuck? You're not Grado. Seriously?
He has a McDonald's Tag Team Hunger Champions fanny pack, which has vouchers for Big Macs.
Fucking hell.
Elimination Chamber officially going to be at the TSR Arena in Phoenix. It will be a SmackDown pay-per-view, February 12th, and this will be not John Cena at the event. Very interesting. He's filming the 2nd season of American Grit. His next time to return is December 26th at Madison Square Garden. He's taking more time off to work in a movie called The Pact. So John Cena probably won't be around as much next year. I know this is NXT news. This is something I think is very interesting. There's been reports that NXT may be potentially going live next year. A lot of issues with that, why that would work. They would have to bring in talent for a 1-hour show. I don't think that's going to really work very well. Should be interesting to see where we go with this. If NXT returned, if NXT could turn Full Sail in the center stage. You know, WCW used to tape at center stage in Atlanta, which is funny because Ring of Honor is actually running in there after the first of the year. But yeah, center stage in Atlanta, that's what Full Sail would turn into. And all the tapings would be at Full Sail. And then the pay-per-views, the takeovers would be at different venues. I think that this actually might work. But the problem is, Ashley, you're basically taping a live show, and then would you tape more than one show? I mean, there's a lot of different directions to go. Would NXT go to 2 hours? I mean, there's a lot of crazy things that could possibly come out of this.
Well, there's one obvious time when you do a live 1-hour show.
Right.
Either the week before or the week after Mania.
Well, yeah.
Or both. Because you could do a live show. Do it like Japan does Wrestle Kingdom. They always have a show like the day or a few days before their big show. And I think if you had like a live sort of like squash match show, like the old school, like, you know, whoever the champ may be, let's say it's Bobby Roode for, yeah.
Okay.
The chance. Bobby Roode squashes, like, you know, Elias Sampson in about 4 or 5 minutes. But it's just having squash matches to build up to the main event matches that will be on NXT TakeOver Orlando.
It's possible.
And then you could do a live episode of NXT the following Wednesday, and then once they go off the air, record another couple of episodes.
It's possible. So, more WWE news. JBL has blocked Mauro Ranallo on Twitter.
What?
Yeah. News coming out today.
Wow.
So, yeah, that happened. And also, some more information coming out is the fact that, actually, let's do this for later. We mentioned something earlier. Jerry the King Lawler and Lita were pulled from the pre-shows for Raw and SmackDown. So basically, Lawler is now under a Legends.
Well, the format of the pre-show.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Lawler's under a Legends contract, so he's fine. But Lita apparently has left the company.
That's what happens when you got an alcohol problem. So every time she did a bloody thing, she sounded drunk. Not in a good way.
John Cena is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live this week, as you probably know if you don't live in a cave. Interesting. I got some really interesting things actually mentioning. It was announced earlier today that the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling will be honored at the Cauliflower Alley Club this year.
Nice.
That's cool. DDP Yoga will be coming to Fight TV app very soon.
Okay.
I just read the news, man. Brock Lesnar has been added to a house show in Salt Lake City, Utah on February 4th.
Interesting.
That adds his Dallas date on February 17th and Buffalo, New York on March 10th. So I think that's rather interesting too.
Should I bump into my news?
Well, the last piece of news I have before we go any further is, did you hear about Colby Corino getting arrested Saturday?
Oh my God, I've got the full details on it, but you go through what you've got.
Well, apparently he was taken into custody on Saturday. He was found unconscious with multiple types of drugs in his home. The cops got a phone call about an unresponsive person, and when they arrived at the scene, Carino was unresponsive on the floor. They said he took many opiates. When he woke up, he admitted that he'd done so, and he was transported to a local hospital. The cops found a grinder, a bag of marijuana, hypodermic needles, baggies, suspected mushrooms, multiple purple pill capsules of an unknown substance, a rock-like substance suspected of heroin, multiple glass vials of an unknown substance suspected to be steroids, and a white residue with a cut drinking straw along his driver's license. Carino and the other person in the house was hit with a resale charge due to the amount found, and Colby was also caught flicking a bag out of his shoe in jail that's believed to be methamphetamine. He is in jail currently on a $40,000 bond, and he's going to be appearing in court later this week.
Weird how this story comes up.
We're in the news part of the show.
Because PW Insider was speaking with Fumi Saito, who's one of the big Japanese wrestling journalists.
Right.
With an update on what's been going on with Matt Sydal.
Ah, yes.
So basically, he's been in jail / under house arrest for the last few months. The court case was actually this week and pled guilty right away. The prosecutor wanted 18 months or jail or 3 years probation. He's going to take, obviously, the probation, which means the verdict will come next week. Then he'll go to the airport and go home. Apparently, somebody reported him to the authorities.
Oh, no.
Apparently, it was his 30th trip to Japan, and they didn't think it was the first time that he brought something in. But yeah, the reason why he got caught is that Japanese customs in Osaka were informed by somebody that Matt was bringing in certain things. This was acknowledged in the courtroom.
Oh, boy.
But they're not saying who. But that person said that Matt from America is bringing in certain things on certain dates. Keep in mind, we can go to old cases like Wings and the Beatles and all that stuff.
Right.
If you get any sort of police record of drugs, whether it be usage or intent to sell or possession, all that sort of stuff, Japan don't want you.
Oh no, not at all.
Colby was set to be going to the New Japan Dojo next month.
Right.
Bye, Colby. I don't want to say it's his own fucking fault, but it's his own fucking fault. I don't want it to take a somber turn, but it is. It's his own fucking fault. Yeah. And with the Matt thing, that's just really, it's now a case like on the message board is people are trying to work out who might have a vendetta against Seidel.
In Japan? Or doesn't even have to be someone in Japan?
Well, there's a lot of people going, ex-WWE. There's some bloke that's named after a dinosaur from Super Mario. Might, it can't be him, surely. And then we all find out it's Tanahashi. It's like, what? God damn it.
Well, we have some Japanese news actually right now.
Well, the big news. Have we mentioned the big news from today?
I want to mention the big news.
Yeah.
This is more me. So Kenny Omega has been teasing a new member of the Bullet Club recently, and he said
that wasn't the big news.
That's the big news for me. Then we'll get to your news. So the member is a monster that devours all competition. They were announced that this Friday at the World Tag League Finals, they would officially announce this person. And lo and behold, once again, I think someone's listening because something that we said is actually going to come to fruition. The person in question is not the big guy, not Ryback, as a lot of people thought that was going to be the case. It is Cody Rhodes, after all. So Cody is the newest member of the Bullet Club.
Is it?
Yes.
You know where Cody's supposed to be in January, don't you?
I do.
Oh, wait, I'm bringing them up when I said I wouldn't. Yeah, they announced that this January is the match that everyone's interested in. WCPW Liverpool has got Cody versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Right.
The problem is that's on January the 5th.
Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah. And if he was going to be part of like the show, the traditional night after show for Wrestle Kingdom, he can't be at WCPW at the same time. I am wondering, because I might as well bring this up here because it doesn't really tie into anything. But the Noah shows last week, Minoru Suzuki lost loser leaves Noah match. Basically, It's just the new Noah people trying to get the New Japan people out. Because as it turns out, the new owners buying out Noah made basically New Japan, who had a stake in the company, like Billy Corgan. They weren't told about it. So basically, Suzuki is... Well, he's not out of a job, but he's not in Noah where he's been for the last year or so.
Right.
And there was a lot of people were saying that whole time bomb thing that they needed in New Japan last month was going to be him. I'm wondering whether it could be him.
I mean, there's no thing saying there can be more than one new member.
It could be Cody, but I'm just thinking if they did, that really screws over commitments he's already made. And you'd have thought if he knew what was happening, he wouldn't double book himself.
I mean, okay, so obviously when you say confirmed, everything is just, you can't 100% officially confirm anything yet because it's not officially been announced. But this is what's coming from PW Insider. That
Yeah,
Cody
but it's not like sort of Goldberg rumors.
No.
Remember, I think it was was it PW Insider or was it Dave that reported that Lita still had a job? One of the two.
Right.
And then it later turned out from Jim Ross that Lita isn't there. So, Be interesting, though, because if he's saying they're making the announcement Friday, there isn't a New Japan show on Friday. There's one coming up in a few hours.
They're saying at the World Tag League is when they're going to release it.
Which is Saturday, then. Well, yeah, even with the times, I think it would be like even midnight Pacific when it starts, the final night. I just don't think it should be as obvious as Cody. Because the Cody thing is mainly just for Ring of Honor, and they haven't got another show for like months, well, weeks.
I guess we'll see where we go with this. Honestly, like if which source is correct and which one is in the dark right now. I mean, I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
but that's what we're hearing as of right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Cody, but I also would be less surprised if it was somebody else.
I guess we'll see where we go at this point. Honestly, it could go a lot of different directions.
Because to be quite honest, I mean, if they did go with Ryback, it would be a very smart partner for Bad Luck Fale.
Oh, heck yeah, it would be.
Because at the minute, he is doing bugger all. Yeah, the fact that if I quickly go to my indie notes, New Japan, the fact that where is it? The fact that Fale and the Bone Warrior that he's partnered up with, or Bone Soldier, I can't even remember who that is. They currently have no wins out of 6 in the tournament.
Oh, that's interesting. I know who Bone Soldier is.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but you'll probably tell me now.
It's Captain New Japan.
Oh yeah, because he turned. Yeah, that's probably what. Yeah, that's why it's failing. It all makes sense. So I guess the rest of the news, the actual big news from today. Is,
I can say this.
Are you actually going to say it this time?
I hope this is. I think this is pretty major news.
Is it the actual one?
Are we talking about something
where we find out that all of a sudden, in about 51 weeks' time, WWE will do some weird promotion for Small Business Saturday?
Yeah, it was announced today officially. There's been a lot of dancing around the subject, and there was a lot of will he, won't he, when it comes down to it. We talked about it a lot several weeks here on the podcast, but it's now 100% official, set in stone. It was on CNN today. That's where I saw this news. It's crazy that Linda McMahon
everyone's reporting it.
Yes, Linda McMahon has officially been announced to President Donald Trump's Small Business Administration. So basically, she is the administrator of the Small Business Administration. Makes perfect sense to me. Yes, she is.
Yeah. Yeah, because WWE is a really small. Yeah, I love the fact Trump saying, well, you know, she helped WWE grow from a 13-person operation to a publicly traded global empire with more than 800 employees. Yeah, I don't think 800 employees is a small company anymore. I know she started from small, but the whole idea of a small business is it's small business. It's not like small business to become medium business to become big business. Because that, you know, through like economic factors and everything. Wow, I'm actually showing off my university degree here.
No, the thing about it is, Ashley, is she's not officially approved yet. The Senate has to approve her by vote, but it sounds like that's going to happen. So it's pretty much in stone now.
It has to.
Exactly.
It's political bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of political bullshit, the interesting one, TNA reportedly said to the talents that they're going to be doing tapings this week, or sorry, they announced this week that they're doing tapings over the week of January the 4th.
4th through the 10th, back at Universal.
Taping through to the end of March.
Correct.
With the interest, but then there was also a mention saying that they would be doing tapings during WrestleMania weekend.
Right.
Which then suddenly changed to, no, we're just having shows.
There will be TNA shows WrestleMania weekend, but I don't know exactly what they're going to be for. I'm going to guess it's going to be for the loyal TNA fans at Universal. They're probably going to be free shows. They're probably just going to be to get the word out about the company and to take advantage of the WrestleMania piggyback everybody is.
This is the first live event that TNA will have done in about 2 years.
You're correct. As long as I'm not somewhere else, I'll most likely be there.
Well, I'm pretty sure when they're doing it is like the Saturday and the Monday.
The Monday's fine. I can deal with the Monday. The Saturday is a little bit problematic, but the Saturday.
No, but like the Monday show will be the Monday show will basically clash with Raw.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
It won't directly clash, but they'll overlap.
Well, if they do this,
in which case, I don't know what I mean. It makes sense because not everybody's going to be able to go.
Right.
To the WWE shows and all the other shows.
Correct.
But it's risky. Because I think that the other promotion, you know, if TNA becomes like the 6th or 7th choice for people, it's going to be rather telling and not in a good way.
I think if they're smart, to be totally honest, I think TNA is going to run during the day. But the thing is, they're going against all the More Than Mania stuff. They're going against What Culture. They're going against all the other promotions that are running. The difference is there's a lot of people that are running WrestleMania week that are not running in Orlando. They're running outside of town. So that's probably going to hurt a couple of things as well. Because it's not in that same bubble. It's a little bit outside of it. With Universal, obviously, is right in that bubble and literally down the road from both Camping World and Amway. So, needless to say, I think it makes sense that if they had a way so you could attend both, it would be good for everyone. If I was TNA, I'd run Friday. I'd run against the Hall of Fame because less people can get in the Hall of Fame that can get into NXT, especially WrestleMania, Raw, and SmackDown.
Right. I think we need to set the scene for the next story.
Oh, God.
Finally, we have confirmation of what these sick guys are doing. Yep. The Bucks are staying with Ring of Honor in New Japan.
Yes.
2-year deal. Supposedly rumored to be a hefty increase in money.
Oh, yeah.
Staggered. It's big this year. It's even bigger next year, or even it's big for 2017 and even bigger for 2018. So basically, they can still do their pro wrestling tees stuff. They're also apparently going to have more input into creative. Hence, delete.
Which is going to be brought up on Impact this week, by the way.
So much so that they managed to wangle the Hardys in, and it apparently was a very last-minute decision from TNA to actually allow the Matt Hardy video to be broadcast.
Right.
Because the Hardys themselves have got a lot of sway in TNA right now, because as long as the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor show is not by pay-per-view, they can do the show. And I believe it's basically going to be video on demand, like last year's Supercard of Honor was.
Please don't remind me. I'd love to go to that show so much.
In terms of the whole signing off, that's also why Brandy Rhodes showed up and never got seen again. The important thing is, though, the Young Bucks can still do PWG for the next 2 years. And they marked this occasion on their latest, life of the elite sort of video by talking about, wow, this is a pretty good contract, but we haven't got a table. And Adam Cole comes in and saying, I've been your back for the past year, so why don't I return the favor? And so they signed the contracts on his back.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really well done.
Very, very nice. Now, some bits from last week's Meltzer news, because I don't think we covered it. Joe Doring apparently was at the All Japan show last week. 27th was Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My head. So basically 2 weeks ago.
Thanksgiving week.
At Sumo Hall, and announced that he'd be returning to action in January, which is amazing considering he announced that he was diagnosed with brain cancer back in late February and underwent surgery in early March and was getting treatment that would weaken him. So, the fact that if Joe comes back will be incredible.
That's a miracle, really, in every way sense of the word.
It looks as if Ring of Honor and New Japan will be having 2 more Korakuen Hall shows following on from last February stuff, this time February 26th and 27th, called Honor Rising Japan 2017. That'll be, I think, 2 weeks before the anniversary show, because I think that's mid-March, from what I remember.
Sounds about right.
Apparently, there was word going around that Leyland Race was the son of Harley Race. It's bollocks. Apparently, he's trained at Harley Race's school, but for some reason, he's wrestling with the name. So there you go. Toriaki Kanemitsu, who looked great given his level of experience, is going to be out of action for quite a while because he got a cervical spine injury a few weeks back. Ryback's had some preliminary negotiations with Combate Americas to fight. But if you take into account that they haven't really paid any big money to fighters, don't expect anything to happen from that, to be quite honest.
Big guy wants a big check.
Tyson Kidd will not be shown at all this season on Total Divas, even though it's supposed to cover the real life of the cast members. And interestingly, he noted on Twitter, "I don't think they want my situation explained. I'll leave it at that for now." So part of me now wonders whether WWE is Jesse Sorensen Tyson Kidd.
I think it's a very good possibility.
In which case, they look just as shitty.
Yep.
Which is always good. Araya Davari and Mustafa Ali are confirmed to be signed to the E for the Cruiserweight division. Also apparently coming to terms is Nixon Newell. My girl, who will be apparently reporting somewhere around April.
Oh, which means she'll be there for WrestleMania weekend.
Shimmer weekend is going to be important then.
Yep.
Because, if the procedures go through and then she has a Shimmer weekend, well, bollocks. So I think she'll be dropping the belts and or titles and, giving the rub to other people over the next few months.
Right.
And if there was anybody that was a replacement for Paige, it's Nixon Newell.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a shame for Paige, but, the circumstances.
She's happy. That's all that really matters.
Nixon is very similar.
Oh, yeah.
Except I hope she isn't stupid enough to get romantically involved with a wrestler of the style of Del Rio. As in one that might be in the company for a bit longer than a year. Brooke Hogan was asked whether her dad had been contacted for WrestleMania. Simply saying, "How can I put it? What is a way that won't get me in trouble? He's capable of anything." Oh, shit. He's going to wrestle against Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
I wouldn't have a problem seeing Hogan at WrestleMania, honestly, as long as they did it right. I think he's done his time.
Apparently, Big Show is the lightest he's been in 21 years. So that's pretty much the same weight he was at when he debuted as the Giant in WCW.
I thought it was,
give or take. There's the thing about Buddy Kenny from the Spirit Squad.
He lost his shoot job.
Yeah, lost his job. It's his own fault. He thinks WWE's going to sign people. Yeah. They signed James Ellsworth because there's money in it. They didn't sign the Spirit Squad for a reason. They can sign the Headbangers instead.
And to tie that story in,
they're cheaper.
They're working each other at House of Hardcore. Which we talked about last week.
They're also busy this weekend. There was an interesting thing that cropped up a few weeks back. So the Smackdown show that was from Ottawa after Survivor Series, Dawson was asked in some interview, I guess in the local media, saying, you know, are they going to be in the tag team turmoil match? Apparently, Scott said, we're the hottest act in wrestling. You think we're going to debut in a stupid multi-team gimmick match?
Good on him.
Cue Bully Ray saying, great job. You managed to insult the entire creative team and your fellow workers in one treat.
Yep.
And then Road Dogg saying, keep talking like that and you won't debut at all.
Ooh.
Implying that they hadn't fucking debuted already. When they actually debuted, what, 3 months ago?
Right.
So, huh? Now we got some very an interesting block here regarding the World of Sport tapings, which it's brilliant. There's a fucking press release on the ITV site, which you can easily get to, that says all info in this press release is embargoed until December the 20th. Why the fuck did you publish it then? Christ. It's going to be airing New Year's Eve, which is the traditional time slot of Saturday, 4 in the afternoon until 6 in the evening. So I'm going to have to make sure, because Saturday's normally my shopping day. Thankfully, the shops are shutting early because it's New Year's Eve. So that probably gives me an excuse to get back in for 4 so I can actually watch this on a fucking television. I hope it isn't going up against something. I've got to wait for another week or so for the actual television magazine to come out as to what the listings and whatever. Because if it's going up against like a Disney film on BBC, the wrestling could be in the shit. One thing we do know, though, from the picture that's on this embargoed press release, because I can say it because I've seen it. I'm not really part of the press. I'm just fandom. The picture does feature Grado and Dave Mastiff. So we know that those two are certainly involved. A lot of other names are rumored as well. I think they also mentioned Viper off the top of my head. She's going to be wrestling. And there was another name that wasn't Grado. I can't think of who it is off the top of my head. So there is no official confirmation that this is actually going to become a series. You know, it's rather than just a one-off. There have been some moves behind the scenes which do indicate that they're considering it. With the idea of doing a giant taping early next year where they could tape as many as 10 weeks worth of television. Basically doing a TNA sort of style gimmick. But the difference between that and TNA ends there. Mainly because ITV over here in the UK is the second most watched television station, which could be seen by millions, whereas Sky can often get in the reach of like 150,000 because not many people want to stay up till like 1 a.m. and watch it. While WWE's had nearly 3 decades as a dominant pro wrestling organization in the UK, you know, even despite the fact that you can only watch their shows by having a Sky subscription, the interesting thing is they're more popular in America, or more popular in the UK than they are in America, and draw bigger crowds at their shows at higher ticket prices. Although interestingly, you know, WWE is supposed to be being aggressive in signing talent. regards to recent deals to try and keep talent away from competitors. Basically, there is the possibility that you could have a war for the British talent between ITV and WWE.
Wow.
All the talent that apparently appeared on the taping have just had an amendment added to their contracts that wouldn't allow them to appear on those shows that do television on major stations. So, and it wouldn't prevent them from appearing for other companies, nor from appearing on iPay-per-view or streaming services. So they could still do WCPW, they could still do Progress Wrestling, they could still do all the other stuff. Basically, the idea is that ITV would have first dibs on them as well. And then if they do a season, there is talk, if it's successful that season, that they will do house shows. In which case, they'd have the right to book the talent on their shows. And if any other bookings have been made for said talents, they'd have to cancel them because they'd take precedent. WWE at the same time is starting to offer unique contracts to the key wrestlers who are marketable or have some name value that don't already have deals. Most notably, probably Nixon. The deals are described as different from anything they've done in the past. They're not main roster deals nor developmental deals. Those in the UK, and for that matter, even some in WWE who are friends with talent that have been offered the deals, have termed them competition killer deals. They're low dollar guarantees, and that the talent would stay in the UK and would be allowed to continue to work the indies, but would now have like a small cushion. Basically, the aim to being they can't show up on the ITV show, but they would also not be allowed to be on things like WCPW because obviously they're spending a lot of money for foreign talent and they're doing, iPay-per-views and free television on the YouTube and whatever. Some of the names are apparently very well known in the hardcore community. Why did Dave use the words hardcore community?
It's very interesting.
What's that about? Others have no name value at all. So very well known. So I guess we're going to have quite a few ICW names probably there, I'm guessing. Probably Trent Seven and or Tyler Bate because, I've been fans of them ever since I saw them on the Shikara pre-show 18 months ago.
They're going to kill the indie promotions in the UK.
They're trying to.
Quite literally.
Of those who tried out a few weeks ago at the WWE tryouts in Glasgow were offered these deals. So they get a slice of WWE, but obviously, they'd be very much restricted on what they can and can't do. WWE's asked for everybody's names and started to do background checks and have told people to clean up their social media accounts, but haven't offered physical contracts yet to any of the rest of them, apparently apart from Nixon. There are ideas hinted around perhaps another TV show featuring the contracted UK talent for that market only. Oh, wait! They're doing what TNA should have done!
Oh, it's a British boot camp show.
The idea is that just being associated with a WWE product would increase the marketability of such talent on the UK scene. Basically, they're trying to create their own. They're trying to create an NXT just in the UK.
Oh my God, they're out for
fuck
blood
over
right
House
now.
Knows Wrestling School. Whee! Although at the same time, a heck of a lot of these UK promotions have had contact from both WWE and FlowSlam regarding streaming. Now, Rev Pro, Progress, ICW, and WCPW have all got their own streaming services. WCPW obviously has got the What Culture site, so they've got a lot of backing. Case in point, I don't think I even mentioned this last week, the live feed and the replay of the iPay-per-view
Right.
is actually the Fight TV feed.
Oh, wow.
Hence why it didn't drop last week, because they were actually using a thing where if there was a lot of people logging into the website, it wouldn't affect it because it was running off Fight TV servers, not What Cultures. Hence, the quality was good, with just some technical snafus on the end of the actual show, rather than streaming problems with the website or whatever. Rev Pro, which has a lot of big names, both UK and international, certainly could be a good idea for Flow Slam because of the international appeal. And at this point, no deals have been made with partnerships and whatever. WWE did work with both Progress and Rev Pro for Cruiserweight Classic stuff. And apparently at the ICW show at the Hydro, the WWE contracts were major talk. And the peer group pressure, we don't know who this was because there's sort of quotes here, was not to sign with people calling them mark deals, with the idea that, quote, they don't want you. They just don't want anyone else to have you.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it's received at the end of the month. Don't know. I don't know when we'll be covering that in terms of this show. I don't know if I still don't know what the schedule is for me and Owen regarding January 4th.
Yeah, I don't either right now.
We'll find out. But
I will say, though, Ashley, this may play into WWE talking about tiering the pricing on the network and offering independent stuff as well.
possibly. But, with the whole multi-tier level, that probably would be people having to pay more.
That is correct. It's 4 different tiers, and you have to pay a little bit more for them.
But of course, if people just went, because obviously WWE's doing it to boost their numbers,
of course,
not to help out the indie company.
No.
And if the indie company is going to get more money through doing it actually themselves at an affordable price, I think Progress's prices are like $6.99 a month, whereas the network is $9.99. Even the What Culture extra stuff, that's actually $6.90. No, that's not even in pounds. That's $3 cheaper than what the network is directly, which means it's probably half the price, give or take, of the network. Because if it's $6.99 currency, let's say it's about £5. Over here for the network, you pay $9.99 in pounds. There isn't any currency change to reflect how $9.99 in American dollars isn't $9.99 in pounds. It's just the same price.
Interesting.
So, if something's half the price, a year of Shikara is $80, which is probably around, at the minute, it's probably about £60. So you can get a year of Shikara plus access to all the stuff they've done for the past 15, I guess technically now 16 years, because we had the season finale, which we'll get to. Or you can pay double for WWE stuff, half of which people probably won't watch anyway.
That's
an
true.
Interesting dilemma. we'll see how it develops. I may also be stalling to wait and see if bloody Monsieur Meltzer's putting a new bit up.
Oh, real quick, do we have any, welcome Jeremy Mills to chat, do we have any updates on the tag league?
Yes, we sort of have a result of sorts. So no real big things didn't really happen until day 13, which was Sunday, the show at Kobe.
Right.
They also had shows before that in Aita and Yamaguchi. But at the Kobe show, the Gorillas of Destiny won their match against Tanahashi and Robinson, declaring that they shall be victorious as they aim to win the World Tag League, which that'd be the first time that the tag champs would win the tag league. And as it turned out, with the final matches having taken place today in Ibaraki, Tamatonga and Tangaloa beat Naito and Rush to finish on 12 points and comfortably win Block A, because the next teams were on 8 points, which was the other Bullet Club team of Yujiro and Page, Rowan Hansen, War Machine. I eventually remember the name. Tenkoji, or Tenkozi, I think it's pronounced. Also on 8 points. And Naito and Rush finished on 8. Tanahashi and Juice Robinson were on 6, along with Leyland Race and Brian Breaker. And then Manabu Nakanishi and Hanare lost all 7 of their matches.
God.
Job squad. Well, Hanare is the young boy, so
makes sense.
Nakanishi got the short straw. Now
Sounds
with
like
Block B, it gets fucking interesting, son. As it stands, 5 teams are on 8 points, which is Makabe and Honma, Sanada and Evil, Okada and Yoshihashi, Shibata and Nagata, and Goto and Ishii. Out of the running already are Omega and Owens and Tatsu and Gunn. Billy Gunn, that is, who are on 4 points. And Bad Luck Fale and the Bone Warrior have lost all 6 of their matches so far. I might as well tie this in here because it makes more sense. Coming up in a few hours is the final night 60. Or I guess not night. Yeah, 16. In Aomori. Finishing and closing out the B block. The key thing to note about this one is it gets complicated. So the first of the 4 matches is Yoshitatsu and Billy Gunn versus Bad Luck Fale and Bone Soldier. Dead rubber. Don't matter who wins. If Bad Luck Fale loses, Bone Soldier's going to get murdered.
Probably will happen. By the newest member of the Bullet Club.
From there, it gets complicated.
Okay.
Because first, we've got Okada and Yoshihashi versus Sanada and Evil. Both of which have 8 points.
Okay.
Then we got Shibata and Nagata versus Omega and Chase Owens. So basically, Shibata and Nagata have to win to even stand a chance. And then your main event is Makabe and Honma versus Goto and Ishii. Both of which are on 8 points. And because I haven't done the research, because it's too bloody complicated, there is the possibility there that 3 teams could finish on 10 points.
Wow.
In which case, it'll basically come down to results against each other. You know, who beat each other in the thing. Because that's too complicated, especially because they're actually facing each other at the same time. I'm leaving it. We'll just find out in about 6 hours. Well, probably not that long. Well, within 8 hours, I'd say. Hopefully, they're finished by then.
Ashley, you want to talk about CZW Cage of Death this Saturday night?
Hell yeah! I got a. Well, should I run through the results first before I get into the fixtures? Fixtures. What am I talking about? It's not fucking soccer. Nothing really big happened off the Dragon Gate Japan show, other than the fact that bloody Naruki Doi at the end admitted this main event was a bit shit. He actually opens. He didn't say shit, but he basically went, "This could have been a better main event, but yeah, we had to tweak it to try and make it better, and it probably didn't work." So, what came out of it of note that I recognise, the final Kurikan Hall show of the year, this on December 20th, will feature the Doi Darts Christmas Special 12-man tag with Brother Yashi, Jimmy Susumu, Jimmy Kanes, JKS, Yusuke Santamaria, Yuki Yoshioka, and Naruki Doi taking on Hayu Watanabe, Monday Ryu, Don Fuji, the former Punch Tominaga, because that's the name they're giving him for some reason, Jimmy Kanda, and Yamato. I think the reason why they're not calling him, why they're calling him the former Punch Tominaga, is the idea was the Punch Tominaga name became true because he was bald. But now that his hair is growing back, they're just calling him the former Punch. It's like,
that's
wow.
Brilliant.
And then the main event, or the main show of the year, the Christmas Day show, because Japan don't give a fuck about Christmas. Mainly because every single title's on the line. The Triangle Gate titles on the line in a three-way with the Jimmies taking on Yoshino, Kotoka, and Benkei, and Cyberkong, Monday Ryu, and El Lindemann. Aita defends the Brave Gate title against Jimmy Kagetora. The Twin Gate tag belts to have Shima and Dragon Kid defending against Shingo, Takagi, and T-Hawk. And then the Dream Gate title, the world title, if you will, has Yamato defend against Naruki Doi. We'll probably talk about that again once we run up to Christmas. Because they'll have, every single show in Japan basically has a stupid show, like the day of Wrestle Kingdom or the day before that. Christmas and New Year, they just go fucking crazy for that shit. Because they're nutters. They even do, I think they do one wrestling show that starts New Year's Eve and ends New Year's Day.
There's been a couple indie shows. I think Chris Hero worked a show that started New Year's Eve and ended New Year's Day several years ago.
On Point Wrestling had its Master of the Mat 2 tournaments, which Tony Deppen won. And not only did he win the tournament the same night, he cashed in his title opportunity that night against the champ Joey Janela, and holy shit, he won it. So he wins the tournament and the title in the same night. Congrats to Tony Deppen. Dreamwave's last show before they get amalgamated into sort of AAW finished with Prince Mustafa Ali, the heavyweight champion there, pinning JT Dunn and Alexander Hammerstone to win the alternative title. So he unified the belts as the promotion sort of bids farewell. The tag champs Nick Brubaker and Marche Raquette retained against Bucky Collins and Cody Cash. Alexander Hammerstone apparently was also wrestling early on in the night with Corbin Blaze and Zicky Dice beating Chris Castro, Judd the Janitor. Some of these names, I love them. And Sugar Dunkerton. Zero Gravity beat Spears and Beers. Stephen Wolf beat Joey Ryan. Eric Cannon beat Little Guido. Seemed a pretty good, nice show as a farewell.
Sounds like it.
House of Hardcore, the pay-per-view on Flow Slam. We had Ball James beat Kevin Thorne. Ball James coming out with a cheese head. And one with a pedigree on the cheese head. Testa. Matt Striker beat Connor Braxton, which included apparently a dance-off. It featured a dance-off with Katie Forbes. I'm not sure who that is off the top of my head. Apparently one with a roll-up while Connor Braxton was performing a giant swing on one of Striker's dancing girls on a hoverboard. I have no clue what that was. Mr. Anderson beat the Sadist. What the fuck? Colt Cabana beat Danny Duggan via roll-up. Matt Cross beat Tony Nese with a shooting star press. Then we had Tommy Dreamer teaming up with Mickie James to beat Angelina Love and Aiden O'Shea. Mickie won after Tommy Dreamer gave Angelina Love a package pile driver.
Yeah, nice.
Apparently, Mustafa returned to the ring because he was sent to the back during the match and apparently attacked Tommy Dreamer and Mickie. But then Hornswoggle tried to make the save, got beaten the shit out of. Then Ryback came out and drew a promo of, "I love you guys!" I bet he hates them. Sami Callihan beat Bob Holly. And then afterwards, Bob Holly hit the Alabama Slam on the referee, I guess. Oh, no, JT Davidson. I guess he would have been the manager. And then the main event, Al Snow and David Herro beat Abyss and Damian Nelson in the last ever steel cage match for GLCW. Apparently, two random men showed up to attack Snow and Herro, but then Sandman came out for the save. I guess that was a thing.
Yeah.
House of Glory Student Showcase 2 had Smiley Caveman and Mantequilla victorious over Nick Heat, Hamp Flanders, and Adam Falcon. Brian Burgundy victorious over the Juggernaut. Sonia Strong defeated Sasa Jenkins. Afterwards, Violet attacked Sonia from behind. Sonia fought back, and then Violet got ejected out the building. Herbal Affairs beat Bones and some other guy. Apparently, the notes from PW Insider didn't know who it was. Apparently, the lights went out, and then when they came back on, Juggernaut was there doing a 3-on-1 attack with Herbal Affairs, and then they put Bones in a body bag. We're doing old gimmicks from the 1980s. Because I read that and literally saw like an old, I don't know if it was an AWA episode or old something. There was some promotion back in the day called ICW.
Yeah.
That was International Championship Wrestling and had Victor Steamboat.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. And the Undertakers. Christ.
They were a tag team.
Yeah, we're not ripping anybody off though, are we?
That was way before. Different gimmick too.
Yeah, but Steamboat. That's a bit more bollocks. Rude Boy Riley beat Ken Broadway by DQ thanks to one of Broadway's seconds interfering. Matthew Ryan Shapiro called out Brian XL. What he meant by that is they dragged the corpse out of Brian XL because he got attacked by Shapiro Stable, the Trust. And Shapiro wanted him to make a decision. I don't know what the decision was about. Brian refused, and so they beat him up some more with baby faces making the save. Teddy Long then came out and said, "Holla, I'm doing a tag match." I would tell you who it was, but I guess this was the actual student showcase because there was no listing of who it is. Somebody beat somebody.
Great results.
Zack Sabre beat Mark Quinn, and Anthony Gangon beat Ricochet to retain the House of Glory World title with heelish tactics. Although there was a bit where he hit Ricochet with the belt, and Ricochet just got up, kipped up like Shawn Michaels. And then I think there was a second hit, and then that was it. Oh, of course, Shikara. Chicago was fucking lucky. So we had Lucas Calhoun beat Drew Gulak, Rick Rowland, Sloan Caprice, and the Big Deal, victorious over the Submission Squad of Pierre Abernathy, Gary the Barn Owl, and Davey Vega. Cornelius Crummels and Sonny Defarge beat Des Peloton of Donald Kluger and Jasper Tippins. Solo Darling got an upset against Max Smashmaster. Los Ice Creams managed to beat Cajun Crawdad and Hermit Crab. And the Mask versus Mask match, Frightmare beat Amasis. Interesting finish. I believe there was 2 Nicolepsies, which is Frightmare's finisher. And Bryce Remsburg, the official, was like, I want to stop the match. And Amasis basically just said to him, no, I want this. Hit with a 3rd Nicolepsy, the 3 count. He met up with his old tag team partner, Ophidian, in the ring and said, I'm sorry I didn't live up to my return. Because obviously he retired, a few years back, supposedly with a career-ending injury, but then came back. He left his mask in the middle of the ring and walked out. Also, I think it was during this part of the show, they had a retirement for Soldier Ant. Soldier Ant is being decommissioned from active duty. So they did a celebration for him. Then the Shikara Supremacy. This was interesting. It was Silver Ant, and it was supposed to be Bullet Ant taking on Wani and Juan Francisco de Coronado. Due to a family emergency, Bullet Ant couldn't make it. So, of course, we did the usual, let's draw names from a hat. The last time this happened, was a King of Trios like 3 or 4 years ago, where they just went like, Bill Belichick and stuff like that, and then Quang the Ninja, and then Tito Santana, and then Tito Santana came out. This time it was Joel Madden. He wasn't there. John Cusack.
Oh, that's great.
He wasn't there either. And then we didn't even need to pull a 3rd name from the hat because Monkey Sounds happened. Yep. Freaking Space Monkey's back, bitches. And Space Monkey and Silver Ant got the win with Monkey pinning Wani. Jeremy Leary beat Officer Warren Barksdale while the ref was distracted with a switchblade comb. Apparently. The Fighting Taylor Boys, which was Chuck Taylor, Trademark, and Dustin, beat NRG when Chuck pinned Hype after a Dustin slingshot dropkick during the Hyper Wheel. The interesting thing is that the Taylors were in matching gear, complete with a shirt for Dustin. And there was a miscue within NRG, which caused Race Jackson to walk out. And then Hype Rockwell got his knee worked over, made the comeback. Race tried to make the save. And Hype had to be helped to the back due to the work that was done on his knee. And then the Cybernetico. Shock horror, this went 72 minutes. As it was going to. Mantis was at ringside with one boot on. Bateri had cut their hair short. Frightmare had a new mask, I guess for beating the other mask. Oleg was the first out after 32 minutes.
Good Lord.
thanks to a distraction from Kobold. Ophidian also had Iberian beat, but threw him out the ring so he could confront Frightmare bent on revenge for Amasis. And that happened because Ophidian eliminated him with an Egyptian destroyer. Then Thunderfrog brought in his hammer to knock over down the Rudos. Kodama then eliminated Thunderfrog with a skull bronzing, while being distracted by kissing Princess Kimberly. What will JT Dunn say about that? Oh, was I not supposed to say that? Heidi Lovelace was then eliminated by Angela Setti. Princess Kimberly then takes everybody to Suplex Kingdom. She did a better bloody job than Brock did in Survivor Series. That's funny. Icarus then eliminated Kimberly after a Blu-ray. Then Fire Ant went on a spate, eliminating Oberian, Kodama, and Kobold after a couple of brain busters and a tornado DDT to Kobold. Interestingly, what happened is Oberian screamed at Fire Ant, saying that he was a disgrace to Soldier Ant. He shouldn't have done that because the entire Batiri trio got eliminated in 2 minutes after that. Then Ophidian got knocked out by Jigsaw with a brain buster. Dasher got taken out with the Wings of Icarus on the floor, but is still in the match. So then it's Missile Assault Man sort of on his own. Manages to take out Jigsaw with a roll-up after a missed kick. Icarus gets eliminated by Missile Assault Man with a missile launcher. But then Hallowicked hits the Never Wake Up, and Missile Assault Man is out. So it's 2-on-1. Dasher versus his former partner and friend Angela Setti and Hallowicked. Amazingly, Dasher managed to take out Angela Setti with a running Liger Bomb, and then beat Hallowicked with an Avalanche Jackhammer, reversing the Never Wake Up finisher that Hallowicked was trying to do. And then afterwards, Ophidian managed to steal the Eye of Tyr from Ultramantis, or Nazmantis as it was being called in his persona. And when he stole it, this appeared to free him from his possession. And Ultramantis Black stands up. The cripple is no longer crippled. Enters the ring, confronts Hallowicked, and just says, "I remember everything." And Hallowicked runs the fuck out of town, and Mantis goes after him. But that wasn't it. And we can attest to this because they broadcast it live on Facebook. They were chanting for one more match. And the Gentleman's Club music played out. And it was the man, Drew Gulak. And he said, how he's come through the Wrestle Factory and given certain commitments, he was allowed to make a list of, people that he'd like to face before he goes. The first of which was Lucas Calhoun, which, of course, as I mentioned earlier, Lucas Calhoun beat him. But there was a second person. And then just as he says that, Quack's music plays up. And everyone's going, "Oh, what's going on?" And then Quack shows up in his wrestling gear. Yes, your unofficial, but goddamn official main event for the last Shikara show of 2016 was Drew Gulak beating Mike Quackenbush in a match which should be on World of Sport in a few weeks. Oh, it was a really good match, and the fact is, you can watch it because all the Facebook Live things are archived, so you can watch that along with the retirement service for Soldier Ant on Shikara's Facebook page. In terms of their next show, quick look. I don't know if they've announced shows for season 17. It does remind me that here we go. We do have official dates. Only shows announced so far are the National Pro Wrestling Day show on February 4th. So yeah, that is that Super Bowl Sunday or is it Super Bowl Saturday?
I honestly do not know.
And the only show that is mentioned so far for season 17 is Blink on March 4th in Kennebunk, Maine. That might be the first time they've ever been there. I am wondering, though, what the theme is. The only thing I can think of with Blink is that it's a Doctor Who episode. So are all the titles of... because the theme last year was... or the majority of the theme was film sequels. So you had Catching Fire, and you had Chamber of Secrets, and you had The Two Towers, and you had Temple of Doom, and you had Shikara Supremacy. I think there was The Lost World as well. Just a whole load. I think there was also a Back in the Habit. They did a Sister Act reference for some reason. I don't know whether that's hinting towards that. Tickets go on sale for the Blink show December 30th, apparently. And the National Pro Wrestling Day shows, it doesn't say. I need to see whether season 16 is available for me to actually view on Chikaratopia. In which case, I know what I want for Christmas. No, they're still adding it to the system. Damn it. Ring of Honor had their TV tapings. We had, in terms of the tournament stuff, because we'll get through that first, Daniels beat Briscoe. Jay Briscoe, or Mark Briscoe, I should say there. Jay Briscoe beat BJ Whitmer. Chris Sabin managed to beat Colt Cabana. And Christopher Daniels beat Chris Sabin. Oh, wait, so they actually had and Jay Lethal beat Jushin Thunder Liger. So they actually had one of the semifinals as well. Okay.
Yes.
In terms of other matches, Leo Rush beat Breeze Coleman. Red Dragon and Dalton Castle beat Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Deonna Purrazzo beat Sumi Sakai via armbar submission. Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young beat the Beaver Boys of John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Afterwards, there was an interaction with Bull James. Apparently. The Kingdom. They beat Joey DiDaggio, Will Ferreira and Cheeseburger. The Young Bucks super kicked the Vanguard 1. So we're starting that build for Christmas.
Yep.
Leo Rush, Jay White, and Donovan Dijak beat the Rebellion. Cody Rhodes beat Steve Corino.
You're welcome.
And Steve Corino's farewell. See
the long 15-minute diatribe I went on during the Final Battle Popcast.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Taylor Hendricks beat Mandy Leon in a no DQ fight without honor match with a tombstone onto a pile of chairs. From what I heard from the reports, it was pretty crap. Isn't great to hear. Marty Scurll beat Jonathan Gresham with a crossface chicken wing. And then, remember how good Dragon Lee, Will Ospreay, and Marty Scurll was?
Yes.
Apparently, Dragon Lee, Will Ospreay, and Kushida is better. My question is how?
We'll see.
In terms of UFC stuff, because I'll quickly add it in here. Not a huge amount of major stuff coming from it. Demetrius Johnson did retain, although it was a pretty close match. Well, the scores say 49-46 on 2 judges' cards and one 49-45, but a lot of the people that are in the know really felt that Tim Elliott had a couple of rounds and, actually prove that he could, perhaps somewhere down the line when Demetrius, gets toppled, if he does, Tim Elliott could be one to watch in the flyweight division. Earlier on in the card, Joseph Benavidez beat Henry Cejudo via split decision. Cejudo got deducted points for low blows. If you want to know how ridiculous this was, he hit him in the balls. And, you could see it as an accident. So he had the 30 seconds to a minute that you get to, to recover from it. As soon as the match restarts, he hit him in the balls again.
God.
That's where the point got deducted. So, I mean, that sort of conduct was not going to be accepted. And then also we had Jorge Masvidal beat Jake Ellenberger via I guess technically a TKO via punches during the first round. But the trick, of course, was that the interesting fact, the thing that happened was Ellenberger got his toe caught in the fence of the cage and was punched while trying to free it. Referee Herb Dean paused the fight and then asked, after checking whether it counted as a cage malfunction with the officials because we're in Vegas, which could mean a timeout or a no contest. They said it wasn't a cage malfunction, even though the idea is that fighters aren't supposed to get their toes caught in it. So, unsurprisingly, Ellenberger is planning to appeal her decision. It's also worth noting Sarah McMahon, in her first match back from giving birth to a baby, managed to get a somewhat of an upset win over Alexis Davis with a second round arm triangle choke submission. For that, she did get a $50,000 bonus. Also, Anthony Smith, who was on the Fight Pass preliminary card, managed to get his pay go up from $30,000 to $80,000 because he got a $50,000 bonus for his win over Elvis Mupachik with a TKO via elbows and punches midway into the second round of their match. And then the fight of the night went to, if I can find it. Where the hell is it? Did I accident? Oh, yeah. On the main card, a light heavyweight bout between Jared Cannonier and Ion Cutelaba, which was 29-28 unanimous to Jared Cannonier. But it was, I guess, so close. So, 2 guys that were on the main card that got, in Jared's case, $24,000 and Cutelaba $12,000 got $50,000 each as well. So they tripled/quadrupled their money, which is great to see. It's not just going to, the big names and whatever. In terms of the UFC this weekend, 2 shows for some reason. We've got a fight night, which seems to be exclusive to Fight Pass, at least in America. I will have a quick look to see whether it is in the UK, in which case sucks to be American, but I've got a feeling it might be exclusive to it anyway in the first place. Saturday, so then I can go back. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, no, they are showing it live, apparently, on UK television. You don't have to have Fight Pass. Not a huge amount happening in the Times Union Center in Albany, New York. I'll just run through the Fight Pass main card because there's only 4 fights. 2 light heavyweight bouts with Gian Villante versus Saparbek Safarov and Corey Anderson versus Sean O'Connell. And the two main event, or co-main events, I guess, if it is that way, two heavyweight fights at least. Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Hamilton. And the main event, Derek Lewis facing Shamil Abdurakhimov. The big one, though, is Saturday because it's the pay-per-view in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre. Where have I heard that before? Hopefully the main event this time doesn't go 86 seconds. I will run through the full card for this one. Sorry to the undercard people on the Fight Pass Fight Night show, but I'll probably run through it all next week because one of you will probably get $50,000. Hopefully. For the pay-per-view, the Fight Pass preliminary card has a flyweight bout. Yeah, if I can say it. Zach Makovsky versus Dustin Ortiz, and two lightweight contests with John Makdessi versus Lando Vanata and Jason Sago versus Rustam Kabilov. On the Fox Sports 1 preliminary card, a bantamweight fight between Mitch Gagnon and Matthew Lopez. In the women's strawweight division, Valerie Letourneau takes on Vivian Pereira. For the lightweights, Olivier Aubin-Mercier faces Drew Dober. And light heavyweight action sees Nikita Krylov versus Misha Kirkunov. And then for the pay-per-view card, Jordan Main one-on-one with Emil Weber-Meek in the welterweight division. Also in the welterweight division, later on in the night in the co-main slot, Donald Cerrone will be taking on Matt Brown. Middleweight contests also between Tim Kennedy and Kevin Gastelum. A featherweight fight between Do Ho Choi and Cub Swanson. And then the main event sees Max Holloway and Anthony Pettis go one-on-one for the interim UFC featherweight championship. The idea that they will face, I guess, Jose Aldo at some point next year once we're done. In terms of wrestling this weekend, quite a fair bit, other than obviously the New Japan stuff we already mentioned. Worth mentioning, though, because I don't think we mentioned it early, the finale of the World Tag League is actually happening in Miyagi. I don't know whether Mr. Miyagi will be in Miyagi. Who knows? The other matches, I don't know. The other matches all get determined by what's happened with the other matches. So the only match we do know is it'll be Guerrillas of Destiny versus whoever wins Block B. Preston City Wrestling this weekend starts the Feed Me More tour. Ryback's heading to the UK. He's going to... Preston City Wrestling's got two shows this weekend, one in Blackpool on Friday at Club Domain Blackpool, and then Stoke-on-Trent, the Fiction nightclub in Hanley. Tickets for both shows are front row £30, booth seat second row are £25 for Blackpool and £20 for Stoke. Adult standing tickets are £15. Under 13s standing are £10. And then there's also a family of four option with 2 adults and 2 kids, or 1 adult and 3 kids. With kids under 13, we're not having any other shit. For £35. In terms of the matches, there's also apparently Ryback and James Storm meet and greets with both of these shows. Various different prices. You can go to Preston City Wrestling's social media and website to get more details on how much it will cost you. I'll give you a clue. It's not cheap. But for the Preston show, the matches confirmed so far include Yestin Reese versus Danny Hope, Rampage Brown taking on Ryback. Interesting. Joey Hayes versus Ridgeway, Ashton Smith versus Bubblegum, and apparently a 2-on-1 handicap match of sorts, as the Hooligans have challenged James Storm to a drinking contest.
Oh boy.
Did I guess the Hooligans have never spoken with Trey, have they?
Nope, probably not.
Otherwise, they would have got warning. And for the Stoke-on-Trent show, Bubblegum's taking on a mystery opponent. Chris Ridgway will face Ashton Smith. Ryback one-on-one with Yeston Reese. James Storm will be taking on Joey Hayes. And the Hooligans take on the team of Shah Samuels. I know how to pronounce that now because of Shah Live. Because I actually saw the proper entrance this time from ICW for that. Shah teaming up with Lionheart. And then on Sunday, Progress Wrestling will be having Chapter 41. In case you want to go, there might be tickets available, but it's if you want the Progress Wrestling ticket, sort of like PWG tickets, in which if you haven't bought them in the first 8 minutes, they're gone. So if you want to get tickets for their shows, if they're coming close to you, or you're close to their home in London and whatever, you've got to be there early and ready. Set for this show, the New Nation of Alexander Henry and Jason Prime, who may or may not be Primate if you look at his picture, take on the London Riots of James Davis and Rob Lynch. In the first round of the women's title tournament, Tony Storm makes that return to the company as the Aussie takes on Bea Priestley. I'm not biased, but Tony beat the shit out of her. Because then she might learn to get better at wrestling. Will Ospreay goes one-on-one with Adam Cole, baby. Rampage Brown will bring his open challenge for his Atlas title to the O2 Academy in Sheffield. There'll be a number one contenders no DQ match for the Progress World title with Jimmy Havoc taking on Marty Scurll. And the title itself will also be on the line with Pete Dunne taking on Zack Sabre Jr. Jesus Christ. Wow. Freelance Wrestling. I don't know whether this is being broadcast live on their YouTube page. Traditionally, the shows have. But you'll have to keep an eye on Freelance Wrestling's YouTube page to find out. Their final show of the year, Triple Threat Level Midnight at the bottom of Chicago. The card has been finalized, apparently. Scramble featuring Stevie Fierce, I think Kenny Sutra, I think that's the name. Chris Castro, Space Monkey, Darren Corbin, and Matt Cage. Eric Cannon goes one-on-one with Ethan Page. Then the tag team titles. It was originally supposed to be the M-Words versus Nick Brubaker and Kobe Durst. They had to then pull out, so Team Beta came in. Except now Brubaker and Durst's other commitment isn't happening. So, Freelance Wrestling officials have decided to make it a tag team title triple threat match because there needs to be so many T's. So the M-Words defend against Brubaker, Durst, and Team Beta. In a loser leaves Freelance Wrestling match, Christian Rose goes one-on-one with Shug D, Sugar Dunkerton. I really don't know who's going to lose that one because that could go either way, given what I know about both men. Considering what Christian Rose has had a 15-year career so far in wrestling.
Wow.
Because he was in the original ECW, wasn't he, when it closed?
Christian York was in ECW.
Oh, we're getting confused with the wrong one. Christian Rose has been around for a bit. Sugar D, though, I don't know what's going on with that. He's sort of been teasing retirement for quite a few years, so I'm not sure. Hornswoggle goes one-on-one. Say again?
Did he get busted open like hardcore by Nick Gage a while back?
Probably.
Okay.
Because, Nick Gage. Straight out of prison. Straight back in. Hornswoggle one-on-one with Kikutaro. And then the interesting one, because the Freelance Wrestling title will be up for grabs as Prince Mustafa Ali defends against former champ Zayas Velasquez and the guy who had a hell of a match with Mustafa Ali a few months back, GPA. The added twist of this is Mustafa Ali's last freelance wrestling match, if not one of his last indie wrestling matches, before he goes full time to the E. So if he wins, the title will be he will leave the company as champion, but the title will then be vacated and will be up for grabs in a big old battle royale on January the 13th, which is their first show of next year. That's, of course, if it's needed, but considering how they've stated that as how it would happen, I don't know. There could be shenanigans. Who knows? Beyond Wrestling has its overnight sensation show in the Melrose Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. An afternoon show starts at 2 p.m. We got Jordan Grace teaming with Deonna Purrazzo to take on Taylor Hendricks and Alexis. Kimberly one-on-one with Lufisto. Matt Riddle takes on Detective Dan Barry. Chris Dickinson one-on-one with Chuck O'Neill. Sean Maluta, him off the Cruiserweight Classic, goes one-on-one with Yaka. AR Fox takes on Joey Janela. Oh, that'll be interesting. Chris Hero versus John Silver. That'll be interesting. Ricochet versus Jonathan Gresham. Are they doing this on purpose? Brian Fury versus Donovan Dijak. I think that's Fury's last match before he retires, at least in Beyond Wrestling terms. Although they have got a show like right at the end of the year, so perhaps not. And the main event, apparently, EYFBO versus the Spirit Squad. That's a bit of a letdown. Especially when you've got like Hero and Silver and Ricochet and Gresham and Fury and Dijak and Fox and Janela. And apparently the other one's more important. No. Kenny, go back to your shoe job. Oh, wait, you can't.
Oh, so wrong.
Also apparently scheduled to appear the Hit Squad of Monster Mac and Mafia. And also Jeff Cobb. Thou shall not fuck with Jeff Cobb.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about in a minute because I still got to talk Lucha. Whoa!
That's next. CCW, Cage of Death.
Yeah, CCW Cage of Death. Well, it's complicated because the afternoon CCW Dojo Wars is having their third mega event. Basically the prelude to Cage of Death. Pretty interesting card, actually, to be quite honest. There's still more people and matches to be announced, allegedly. But we got a 6-man with Josh Adams, Kurt Robinson, and Jeff Bravo taking on Kit Osborne, Mike Dell, and Tahir James. Tag action with Jimmy Lloyd teaming up with Billy Danvers to take on Maxwell Jacob Feinstein and Bear Bronson. There'll be a 5-on-5 Fella Twins Academy Invitational. Apparently. A 6-man scramble with Kefka, Ryan Rogan, Tolpa, Laszlo Arpad, Billy Avery, and a mystery person. Ace Austin faces Max Caster. And then for the Medal of Valor, it's Frankie Pickard versus Blackwater, but it's not just any old 2 out of 3 falls match. It's a 3 stages of hell. Which, considering we're at the show where Cage of Death is, I expect something weapony for at least one of those 3. Speaking of, Cage of Death, violence, destruction, please bring your kiddie toys. Yes. I love that. It's like, yeah, there's going to be violence. By the way, please bring along a toy. Help the Marines and spread holiday cheer for those who are less fortunate. I just find that a bit just weird.
It's toys for tots.
Yeah, it's always good. But it's like, is that the best fit for Cage of Death? Yeah, I want this toy polar bear to go to like an 8-year-old kid. By the way, is Nick Gage going to kill himself tonight? It seems like completely clash of things. For that show itself, the 6-man scramble match will have Tony Deppen, AR Fox, Zachary Wentz, Dave Chris, Tim Donst, and Alexander James. In a showcase match for I guess it's something United promotion. I'm not sure exactly. Yuma and Martinson face the Dub Boys. Greg Excellent one-on-one with Homicide. Desmond Xavier takes on Shane Strickland. Sami Callihan versus Leo Rush. Yay.
Oh, wow.
Danny Havoc versus Ricky Shane Page. Yay. The Hit Squad defend the tag titles against EYFBO. Jonathan Gresham defends the CCW World title against Joe Gacy. And then the Cage of Death itself. I love the fact that apparently, bloody Zandig took over the running of the show and he hasn't been seen since.
Yeah.
So did he not give a shit about the idea? Or, Nick Gage ruined the fucking thing because he went back into prison?
Maybe.
Because that was clearly the angle that they were going to do, I would have thought. But anyway, Cage of Death will have Devon Moore, Drew Blood, Dale Patricks, and Josh Crane taking on Matt Tremont, Joey Janela, Jeff Cannonball, and Connor Claxton. And if that wasn't enough, we've got an Evolve weekend this weekend. Saturday, La Boom in Queens, New York, featuring Dustin versus Chris Dickinson, Darby Allin versus Brian Cage, Drew Gulak taking on Yaka, Matt Riddle versus Jeff Cobb, Chris Hero versus Dick Togo, Cody taking on Ethan Page, and Catchpoint defending the tag titles against Ricochet and Peter Casa. There are tickets available for all of those shows, mainly because they only announced that show like last week.
Right.
Whereas the other one has been available to book for months in Melrose, Massachusetts. Oh, look! So that's why Beyond Wrestling's doing an afternoon show. Because they're doing a double header with Evolve. Now it makes sense. So Dick Togo will be there. Oh my God, is Beyond Wrestling going to have Dick Togo versus Jeff Cobb?
Oh, wow.
Oh my, I've just put 2 and 2 together and made 79,872.9. Darby Allin and Peter Casa face Chris Dickinson and Yaka. Fred Yehai will take on Jeff Cobb. Dick Togo goes against Ethan Page. In a couple of challenge matches, Ricochet one-on-one with Matt Riddle and Chris Hero taking on Dustin. And then they're advertising it as Catchpoint Explodes. I call it Drew's leaving the company as Tracy Williams takes on Drew Gulak. And that's all the shows for this weekend. Pretty strong list of shows.
Real quick, Ashley, do you want to mention something that was said with Matt Riddle? He has some dealing with the WWN president, and they had a meeting in Beijing with the Sports Bureau about MMA and pro wrestling events in China.
China.
WWN MMA will be March 18th, 2017 in Beijing.
Gabe, what are you doing?
That's what they're saying.
I know, but Gabe, what are you doing?
And if you are in the Queens area or in the surrounding area and you want to have a once chance in a lifetime to train with Dick Togo, there is 50% off now. So the WWN seminar will be at the FTW Training Academy number 2, 563 Woodward Avenue in Ridgewood, New York. Still in Queens, New York. So if you want more information, obviously check out WWN Live.
And if you are in the area, tickets for the show range from $30 for general admission, going up to $55 on lease, for the day of the show for the VIP stage seats. But that does include a £10 merch table credit.
Right.
And also an autographed event poster. More details can be found at dg-usa.tv. Is it?
Yes.
/events, and you can find Evolve 74 and 75 links on there as to prices, and you can't do video, motherfuckers, and other stuff like that.
All right.
Is it time for me to get yes set up?
So we've got Lucha, NXT, and Ring of Honor to end the show tonight.
Oh, did you already cover 205 while I had my snafu?
I had to, yes.
No, that's all right. Just, I know. So that's all right. So, previously on Lucha, if I can find the notes, I don't know what the episode of this one was. I'm guessing something to do with like Battle of the Bulls or Bulls, Beasts, and Monsters or something. I don't know what it was called. If it was Battle of the Bulls, that was a good guess.
I believe it is Battle of the Bulls, actually.
I should make up these titles.
You should.
Last week should have been, why the fuck did they push Sexy Star? That's what it should have been called. So previously, Mundo's rise to the Lucha Underground title and Angelico and his effect. Cage and Tecano in their feud. And Big Willie. The wrestler that is not, Enzo. So we're in Dario's office, and Angelico comes in and wants Mundo tonight, whether it's title or not. And Dario's like, he's got lawyers, man. We can't do it. But there is a Battle of the Bulls tournament that is starting tonight. It's my new idea. Whoever wins the tournament gets a Lucha Underground World title shot, and you're going to be in it next week. And Angelico's like, yeah, okay, I'm happy with this. But Mundo won't need a lawyer when we're done. He'll need an undertaker. Mark, if you're in the area, apparently you're needed. They then say how it's complicated. There's going to be 4 4-man matches, one fall to a finish. The winners then go into a 4-way match as well, but it will be a 4-way eliminator. So it gets complicated. So your first 4-way features Arno, Joey Ryan, and Dr. Famous B. Famous B goes to make the introduction for Dr. Wagner, and in doing so gets clotheslined the shit out of by Cage. This was a very good 4-way because you've got 3 guys that know how to do big ass shit, like Cage and Tecano and Wagner Jr., and Joey Ryan, who just knows how to take the bumps and other stuff. So it was really good. There was one really nice spot that Cage got Dr. Wagner up on his shoulders and then got Famous B across his chest and did the whole, toss, dumping them over his back and whatever.
Fall away slam?
The fall away slam. I never know these terminology. That's why I was trying to get the call to work so I could what's this move called? It's the Joe Hendry move.
freak of nature.
Joe Hendry. But interestingly, Tecano hit his finisher on Ryan, but Cage pulled him away and stole the pinfall. So Cage progresses on. They then announce the other match tonight will be Mac, Marty the Moth, Mil Muertes, and Dragon Azteca Jr. Notice how many M's are in that thing apart from Dragon Azteca Jr. You're letting your side down, Dragon. Damn it. So now we got Sexy Star in Dario's office. And he says, the title wasn't just taken from you by Johnny, but all of the International Underground took it. So I propose a nice little bit of revenge. Tonight, you'll have a match with PJ Black, the one person you haven't faced from that stable. If you win, you bypassed the Battle of the Bulls tournament, and you get a title match with Mundo. Except, not only will the members of International Underground be banned from ringside, but it'll also be a steel cage match. And Sexy Star is, that sounds good. But then, of course, Dario goes, but if you lose, you can never challenge for that title again, no matter who's champion. And she just goes, she basically goes like, might be a mistake to threaten me. You might have turned a new leaf, but the past can haunt you. So sinister, sinister, sinister. Then we've got a bit with Reyes, the cop, reporting into Captain Vasquez. We're suddenly bringing this storyline back after 6 weeks. Or at least the captain, anyway. And Reyes is basically saying, he openly called me a rat. He knows. You know, I'm compromised. What the hell do I do? And Vasquez is like, you're going back in. Just deeper, undercover. You know, when your arm's healed, we'll make sure you get back in using this. And she holds up some generic sort of mask or something and says, that, you know, you have to be in there. We have to know what's happened. So then we get Sexy Star versus PJ Black. Not a bad move. There was a weird spot with PJ blowing a kiss at Melissa Santos while he was beating up the woman. There was, late on, Jack Evans came in for a distraction, threw a bat in the ring, which referee Marty Elias took care of. Jack then, or PJ Black held Sexy Star. Jack went in for a run-in or something, but Sexy Star missed. So Jack hit PJ, and then we had a sunset flip pin. Sexy Star wins. She gets her cage match in a future show. And PJ and Jack Evans are pissed at each other. I guess the stable might be splitting up. Who knows? So then we got Cobra Moon on a throne, saying that their tribe was a great one, led by 3 generals. Pindar, some name that I couldn't notice, and another who deserted us. But now we need to claim our spot back. So she asks the 2 other generals to bring back Drago and make him bow to the queen. Stephanie McMahon? And then, before we get to the actual entrances for the main event, Dario is back at where Matanza's cage is and says, come on, man, I can give you a shot in this balls thing. You know, you can destroy everybody. And Matanza's just, Ray, and says, okay. How about Dragon Azteca Jr.? You know, he's Ray's protege. You know, he came back last week. You know, Ray's still injured from what you did to him. You know, we can't get to him yet, but you can get to him. But think about it. And at this point, like, Matanza's reaching out to him, like caressing his neck, you know, brother to brother sort of thing, the brotherly bond. And he's like, yeah, it did bad things to Dragon Azteca. You know, he lost his father. He lost his family. I don't want the same to happen to you. And then Matanza smashes Dario's head against the cage and sneaks his arm through the bars and grabs the key. And gets out. sort of ties into the match that we get, which is Marty the Moth Martinez, Dragon Azteca Jr., The Mac, and Mil Muertes. Pretty damn good match. I wouldn't say it's as good as the first one, because that was really good, but certainly solid. Matanza did show up towards the end and proceeded to destroy Dragon Azteca Jr., but then Dario, with a towel that's made of more blood than actually towel, from what I can tell. A very good spot of making it look like, Dario's busted wide open without having to be. I think had the key or whatever with him, and basically like a dog told him to heel, enough. You're done. You're finished for tonight. This allowed the other three to do whatever they want to, and the Mac managed to hit the stunner by God on Marty the Moth. That's the closest you're going to get to a to be continued this week, because there wasn't anything. All the excitement of last week with the whole, Prince Puma back from the dead. Nah, this week it was just, Mac won. Quick turnover because Joe versus Nakamura is happening. It's as if they knew.
Are you ready to talk about that?
Solid show. I don't think I'll ever be ready to talk about it because fucking Sophie Grace.
Oh
God. So yeah, NXT opened with DIY coming through the crowd. Or at least they did go in the crowd for one bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they were walking through the crowd. I heard a lot about this when the tapings actually went down, that DIY are probably more over than nearly any babyface in company history.
Makes sense.
Dueling chants of Johnny Wrestling and Psycho Killer, too. I like that.
Yeah. And they were celebrating, how they had tag champs. And then that music plays up. And toked up on marijuana. Yeah, considering that's how their names sound, toked up on marijuana show up. With Paul Ellering. Because I have respect for him, so I'll actually call him by his real name.
Right.
And says, "We've won the Dusty Classic. We're going to destroy you." Revival then come out. Tiptoe sort of round Authors of Pain. And say, the only number one contender should be us because we're owed a rematch. And bloody, the Authors gradually go down the ring, getting the faces of Revival, push them down to the mat. And Ellering says, these will be the next legacy of the tag team division. And I'm like, do we really need these fat fucks in the company anymore?
I don't like this team. Like I said, as long as the Pretty Boy Killers are alive and well in the Indies, I don't like the Authors of Pain. Plus, they're a danger. We'll get to that in a couple weeks. We've already talked about that last week, but I mean...
I've just come up with a brilliant idea. Paul Ellering is with the wrong two big guys.
You're right.
Yeah, he shouldn't be part of the Authors. He should be part of the club.
That would be interesting. But Gellers and Anderson could talk. And obviously, Toka and Razor can't talk.
Yeah, but CM Punk could talk, but he had Paul Heyman for God knows how many months.
Right.
And all I remember about the club at the minute is that stupid testicles angle that they did earlier on in the year.
Yeah, I hate that thing so much.
If you had Ellering with them,
that never would have happened. Right.
You'd pay attention.
Well, I remember when Ellering showed up for the first time, and everybody went crazy for it. But then it was kind of like they're with the Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain aren't going to matter. Granted, they're going to make them matter, but I don't buy it. I don't buy the gimmick at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if I did not know Taylor and Lee, I probably would buy into the Authors of Pain, but I do, so I don't. I mean, they're like a poor man's Taylor and Lee. I mean, they're kind of like, they got Gorillas of Destiny vibes too, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, we get our first match after this, is it?
Right.
Well, we get the announcement of Showtime Percy Watson.
Yeah, the irony of Percy Watson's first match announced in NXT being Showtime Eric Young.
And No Way Jose.
Watson looks really different now.
Yeah, he doesn't have the glasses, so he looks sensible.
Yeah. He's not bad. He's decent for providing commentary.
Did you mention why 205 Live is the best show ever now?
Oh, I was talking earlier about how Aries reminds me of like how Bobby Heenan used to do commentary, and they're just building all his heat. Yeah. So when he comes back, he's going to be the leader of the division, and everyone's going to go after him.
I always argued that 3-man commentary teams shouldn't exist. I now can't say that because 205 Live is happening every week.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With the 3 best commentators and color commentators that wrestling can give you right now, at least in the mainstream stuff.
Right.
Sorry, Quack and Bryce and Excalibur and Carino.
But yeah, so we start off the show with the tag match. It is mentioned on commentary about Sawyer Fulton, but it basically goes no further that we don't know why he's not here.
The great thing is, because he isn't here anymore, Eric Young is the odd one out.
Now he may not be.
Why?
Well, because there's someone else that may be joining the ranks of Sanity soon, if you go with what's been going on lately.
Well, no, because you got a German.
Oh, in that ways, okay.
Wolf. A Scotsman, or woman. Well, I guess we can say man because of Iron Man. In Nikki Storm. Or Nikki Cross, as she's going by now.
Yeah.
And what happened in the aftermath of this match, which we'll get to. Because in actual fact, we didn't. It was a pretty good. Pretty good. Might be a bit too nice, but pretty decent match with these 4.
It was decent. No surprise there. So, like I said, good back and forth match. Before the match starts, Eric Young Taz Sawyer Fulton's jacket. He throws it on the ground and throws it outside on the top of the ramp. So, heat on Swan for a while. Wolf for the nerve hold. Swan fights out. Hot tag Noah Jose. I don't buy it either. Fallaway hip toss. Clothesline TKO. Wolf breaks up the pin. Swan hits his standing Phoenix Splash to the outside. Same thing I talked about earlier. Eric Young sends Jose out, and next thing you know, Jose runs into the business end of Big Damo, who comes out of the crowd and posts him. The crowd is chanting for Damo. Obviously, somebody watches their wrestling, thankfully. I can always hand it to Full Sail for being a smart crowd. Eric Young hits the wheelbarrow, reverse neck breaker, and gets the win. Then after the match is over, Damo picks up the jacket and then throws it back down. Spoiler alert, Damo and Wolf have been teaming together on NXT house shows. So the plan has been put in motion for Big Damo to be joining Sanity. I have no idea what happened to Sawyer Fulton. I don't think he got released unless it just hasn't been announced yet.
Does this technically mean Blompier is God?
Oh, yeah, of course. I will gladly shake his hand in a couple of months when I see him. That's what he's doing. The whole match the whole time they were referring to him as Damo. They dropped the big, so I guess he may just be Damo in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Which has the opposite effect of what annoys me so much is when a tag team is called Team Insert Name. I like the big in Damo; it gives him more emphasis. But if they're not going to drop that, then Damo's fine. It fits with Sanity. Wolf, Damo, Cross, and Young. Oh, wow.
At least we now know what's missing.
I know who's missing from this if it was me, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, what's missing is a team actually called Team Insert Name here.
Oh, God.
Because that'd be fucking brilliant.
I did a long time ago book two guys that kind of resembled Edge and Christian. I called them Random Ohio Talent. Got over for a while.
I thought you were going to say Random Ohio Hipsters.
Oh, no.
It was some oblique reference to some other company.
We'll talk about them in a minute, don't worry. So yeah. Solid match. William Regal's in the back.
Who's the announcer person? Because she sounded like she was smoking 60 a day. She lost her voice and it was only the start of the bloody tapings.
I didn't write down who it was.
It wasn't a normal guy. Which is weird considering that these NXT things were taped like a week before this Japan tour.
Was the ring announcer Greg Hamilton? That can't be right. It was a woman, wasn't it?
It was a woman.
Oh, God.
But it wasn't the guy that's been doing it for the last few weeks either. You know, the guy that announces, the other guy that does the announcing for WWE NXT shows.
Right.
Or over the last few weeks anyway.
I'm trying to find out who it is off the top of my head, but I cannot for the life of me say. I'm going to feel stupid in a minute when I figure it out.
Either way, what was William saying?
Basically, that the rematch between the Revival and DIY will be on January 11th. And the winners will face the Authors of Pain at San Antonio's TakeOver. Ty Dillinger comes in. He wants to talk to Regal. He says he's kind of ashamed of what's been going on lately. And he said that if I couldn't get the job done last week, then I probably shouldn't be here anymore. Regal stops him and says, we're going to do a tournament next week. This tournament, I'd give anything to have seen live. There's going to be 4 singles matches. those winners go on a fatal 4-way, and that person becomes the challenger for the NXT Championship in San Antonio. Now, Ty's, and I want you to be a part of this tournament. And Ty's like, okay, fine, that sounds good. And the next thing you know, he's like, what do you want to talk to me about? And Ty's like, oh, nothing. And the last thing that happens is really interesting, Ashley. Regal picks up his brass knuckles from his desk, and he looks at them, and that's the last visual we get of this.
And so then something else important happened.
Well, real quick, if you're not aware, these 4-way matches, oh my God. We'll start at the bottom. We'll go to the top. We have Andrade Cien Almas against No Way Jose, and that match is going to happen. And then we have Oney Lorcan versus Bobby Roode. We have Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young, and Elias Sampson versus Roderick Strong.
Why did you say that one was the most important?
Well, I just think the fact that Roderick Strong on television is actually a good thing. Because I haven't seen him on TV yet.
Elias Sampson's.
I like Elias Sampson.
The negative certainly outweighs. The negative outweighs the positive.
I like Elias Sampson. I don't care. The point that you're referring to is the ladder that happens after this. And that is the... Okay, that's interesting news. I have some more news. Just give me a minute and I'll tell you that Sanity's about to talk, and Young and Wolf are like, nope, not doing this. But we stop on Nikki Cross, and you see her looking at something. And when the camera pans back, she's looking at the NXT Women's Championship. Asuka comes into the picture. They kind of smile at each other, and they have a stare down. So yes, Ashley, we're going to get Asuka versus Nikki Cross down the line very soon.
I'm pretty sure this probably has happened.
I almost guarantee it has.
And that's why I approve of this message.
Indeed. I do have more news, actually. We'll get to that in a minute. We got our next match. This show is just perfect for you now, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because then that happened.
Yep.
Ember Moon versus Jobber, whose name is Kimberly. Holy shit, it's happening.
Yes. This is Ember Moon versus Kimberly.
Did a better job here than she did with Nixon Newell, which is awkward considering Nixon was probably using that as an audition tape.
Yeah.
And that isn't going to make it look good on Kimberly because she forgot how to do a Canadian destroyer. Or forgot how to take a Canadian destroyer.
This match, Ember Moon versus Kimberly. Good stuff here. Really good stuff here. So this is a nice little showcase on how to take the O-Face, how to take the Bad Moon Rising. Because Kimber sells it like a champ. Ember runs out of a powerbomb attempt. So she hits a drop kick, which is kind of shaky. She basically hits the handspring into the forearm in the corner and then hits the Bad Moon Rising, wins the match. It was 3 minutes, but it was a fun 3 minutes, and I'm very happy I saw Kimberly on my television.
Indeed.
Oh, incidentally, NXT news, Lana is going to be, if you're going to be in the St. Petersburg or Winter Haven NXT house shows coming up this weekend, Lana is going to be in singles action.
I wonder why, considering everybody else is halfway around the world.
Oh, I have big WCPW news I don't think you even know about. We'll talk about that after we're done with this show. We'll do it right before Ring of Honor. Main event time, live from live to tape from Osaka, Japan, with
I love the fact I kept saying in the corner, this has been previously recorded.
Yeah.
So was the rest of the fucking show.
I know. And you can tell it was special because good friend of the Popcast Network and a personal friend of mine, Mike Rome, is your ring announcer.
Mike! Fuck it. Yes. Mike for NXT #1 ring announcer.
I'm so happy that Mike's
why
doing
couldn't
so
we
well.
have him instead of this woman?
Good question. Was it JoJo?
No.
Okay, there's someone else then. So, main event time. This is the match where Shinsuke Nakamura wins back the NXT Championship from Samoa Joe. This match was, I'm not going to lie, this match felt like it was a joined in progress match on television without much heat to it, or a dark match on a house show.
Mm-hmm.
Did not feel like anything that they have done previously, and that's understandable. It was basically a house show anyway. That's pretty much what this Osaka show was. We come back from commercial break, and Joe has the STF locked on. And he turns it into the crippler crossface. Nakamura gets the ropes. Suplexes counter. He's going for the cross arm breaker, but he can't lock it in. So Joe counters out. Nakamura ends up going for the inverted exploder, but of course it's stopped with a couple of elbows. Joe with a released German suplex. And he ends up catching Nakamura with the snap power slam for a near fall. So Joe's caught with a released German suplex, not Joe gives one. So he had it from Nakamura. It looked great. Snap power slam cuts him off there. Goes for the muscle buster, gets countered. And he ducks the knee strike and locks on the Kikina clutch. This turns into the German suplex. He's going for the dragon. He's going for the Chimera, but he basically goes for the dragon suplex. It's countered, and then it gets reversed, released German suplex. So he's going to finish him off with a straight jacket German, but it doesn't work out. Muscle Buster is stopped as he gets caught. Back enziguri kick knocks Nakamura to the floor. He goes for the Nodao Itachi on the outside on the ring steps because he breaks them apart. And, of course, he gets elbowed out. He gets caught with a modified Kinshasa on the floor. He tosses him in. They trade blows. Vicious fighting back and forth. Nakamura hits a sliding knee strike. Joe momentum carries him to the floor. Nakamura back in the ring, hits the knee off the back to the back of the head, and then lines up, hits the Kinshasa, and wins the match. Crowd were not as into this as I thought they would be. I guess you could blame the polite Japanese crowd, but to that, I can say that's wrong too, because when Mike Rome said one fall, you heard people in the crowd say one fall with them.
And there were smatterings of 10.
Exactly. Like I said in my notes, and I said at the beginning of this, very basic match. Felt like a house show. Felt like it was joined in progress. They only showed a little bit over 10 minutes of this match. And that was the end of that. After the show was over,
they showed it in full.
I heard there was more to it than this. Because obviously there was.
You'll see it in full equals bollocks.
Ah. Welcome, Will, to chat. Ellsworth is the jawless prick for putting Ambrose through a table. Andrea DeMarco, Charlie Caruso, Greg Hamilton, and my boy Mike Rome. Yeah, Mike also does interviews for .com. Yeah, I noticed that. I'm very happy for him, too. Andrea DeMarco is the person you're thinking of, Ashley.
Angela DeMarcos.
Close enough. And then it's made breaking news after the show's over that they're going to meet one last time in Melbourne, Australia, inside a steel cage, and that footage will be showing up on NXT in the next week or so.
You missed out on the best bit.
Oh, gee.
Fuck Kathy Kelly. Apparently, we have to get the Great Caruso to announce this. Why? Is Kathy Kelly dead? Did Vince McMahon murder her because she wouldn't suck his dick? Who knows? The Great Caruso is taking over the fucking world. Does anybody have the phone number for Chance so we can murder a bitch?
I think Mike Rome might know that phone number.
I thought so. That might be why I said
it. That was line of the night on the podcast tonight, and comedy for me and Will is still comedy.
I don't think it was. I think my rant on Sophie, whatever the fuck her name is.
The Sophie Grace promo from a couple of hours ago is probably one of my favorite things that you said tonight, too. Before we get into Ring of Honor, it was a solid show this week. Hopefully you got a chance to watch it. I will state that WCPW just announced, like minutes ago, their end of the year awards.
Oh.
You can vote on WC.PW in multiple categories. I'm trying to count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 categories, Ashley. Are you curious?
A little.
All right. Most underrated wrestler of the year. You can vote for Alberto El Patron, Alex Gracie, Alex Windsor, B. Priestley, Big Damo, Cody Rhodes, Doug Williams, Drake, Drew Galloway, El Ligero, Gabriel Kidd, Grado, Joe Coffey, Joe Hendry, Johnny Moss, Joseph Connors, Kimberly, Kurt Angle, Lana Austin, Liam Slater, Lucas Archer, Little Miss Roxy, Mark Coffey, Martin Kirby, Marty Scurll, Nixon Newell, Noam Dar, Paul Robinson, Pete Dunne, Primate, Prince Amin, Rampage, Scott Wainwright, Travis Banks, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, and Will Ospreay. I think that's the whole freaking roster.
Well, that's pretty obvious.
All right. Show of the year.
Kurt Angle is most underrated wrestler of the year.
Yes, of course. The show of the year nominees are Built to Destroy, Delete WCPW, Loaded, Refuse to Lose, Stacked, and True Legacy. Commentary of the year, Adam Blampier, Alex Shane, Dave Bradshaw, Jim Cornette, King Ross, Jim Ross, Simon Miller. Most improved, Alberto, B, Damo, Cody, Doug Williams, Drake, Galloway, Ligero, Grado.
Kurt Angle is the most improved wrestler of the year because he isn't wrestling for fucking TNA.
I'll get to that.
Kurt Angle's winning all of these for me.
Gabriel Kidd, Grado, Joe Coffey, Joe Hendry, Joseph Connors, Kurt Angle, Marty Scurll, Martin Kirby, Nixon Newell, Noam Dar, Pete Dunne, Primate, Prince Amin, Rampage, Travis Banks, Will Ospreay.
Yeah, the roster.
Pretty much. Your promo of the year. Your nominees are Adam Blampier, Adam Pacitti, Alberto El Patron, Cody Rhodes, Drew Galloway, James R. Kennedy, Joe Hendry, Joseph Connors, Kurt Angle, and Martin Kirby. Feud of the year. Ligero and Kirby. Kirby versus Pacitti, Galloway versus Connors, Hendry versus Connors, Ospreay versus Kirby, Rampage versus Damo, Rampage versus Primate, and Williams versus any of the foreigners in the company. Match of the year, Ashley. Ospreay, Scurll, Kirby, Banks, and Pete Dunne from Loaded 9. Ospreay, Dar, and Ligero from Loaded 5. Mustache Mountain versus Moss and Slater from True Legacy. Ospreay and Scurll from Stacked. Ospreay and Kirby from Loaded 7, Kirby and Connors from Refuse to Lose, Hendry and Angle from Refuse to Lose, Connors and Galloway from Loaded 11, and True Legacy, Cody Rhodes versus Kurt Angle. Tag Team of the Year, the Strong Style Collective, the Swords of Essex, Prospect, Mustache Mountain, Moss and Slater, Lost Perspectiva, Hendry and Connors, The Coffees, and Amin and Kid. Female Wrestler of the Year, Alex Windsor, B. Priestley, Katarina Lee, Kimberly, Lana Austin, Little Miss Roxy, and Nixon Newell. And Wrestler of the Year, the entire roster, but mainly, yeah. Alberto, Damo, Cody, Doug Williams, Grave, Galloway, Ligero, Kid, Grado, Coffee, Hendry, Connors, Angle, Curvy, Skrull, Dar, Dunn, Primate, Amin, interesting, Rampage, Banks, and Osprey.
Obviously, it's Kurt Angle because he only had 2 matches.
So submit your vote right now if you'd like to. If you'd like what you're hearing with all the WCPW, if you're watching it on a regular basis, it's wc.pw/awards. And now we're on to the final bit of the show.
All that's going to be published in issue 4 of the Wrestling magazine, which I probably will be buying, considering I own 2 and 3.
That is correct.
And yes, for free, I did get the It's a Dilapidated Boat cover.
Nice.
Mainly because that was the only one that was there, but fuck, it's a dilapidated boat.
Fair point. Continue. Ring of Honor.
Where are we going? Oh, right.
Final bit of the show. Ring of Honor time.
If Dave don't have to cover it next week. I'm just waiting for the thing to come up. But yeah, Ring of Honor began, I think, with just a match, from what I remember.
Yeah. This is the last Baltimore tapings.
Yeah, the tag match.
Right.
Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu, or the Tempura Boys, as they're probably not being called, versus Will Ferreira and Cheeseburger. Cheesy Burger. Cheesy Burger. Good match. Somewhat of an upset as Tanaka and Komatsu get the win after Tanaka putting Cheeseburger up in a package pole driver position. And then Komatsu hits a super kick. And Tanaka hits the package pole driver. Gets a 3 count. Then interestingly, after the match, Prince Nana comes out and tells Donovan Dijak to come to the ring because he's sick and tired of what's going on. And tells Dijak to murder them all and end their careers. And Dijak's like, what do I do? Grabs Ferreira, hits him with a chokeslam backbreaker. Nana basically says to Dijak to do it again, and Joey, Daddy Ego, gets up from the announce table. Then Komatsu gets destroyed. Also, no, Ferreira gets destroyed again, and then Komatsu falls down from looking at the movie. It just shook him up that enough. And Diego takes the microphone away from Nana and says, "These are not just my training partners, but they're my friends and family. If you want to knock anyone down, why not me?" Which then goes straight into Dijak versus Daddy Ego. I never know how to pronounce that. Joey. We'll do it safe like that.
Joey Diesel.
Somewhat of a squash match anyway. That Dijak wins with a feast your eyes. And Nana goes to Dijak, "That's how you win a match," and walks off. So, a lot of shit going down. A lot of shit. So then Ian is backstage giving an update on the status of the cabinet now being known as the Rebellion, as they attacked Dijak and the machine guns, which doesn't make sense because they wrestled on the pay-per-view 24 hours before.
This is true.
This is the problem with some of these taping. So then we get Punishment Martinez and BJ Whitmer with the cunt taking on War Machine. Fucking Kevin Sullivan. Fucking Kevin. Anyway, it goes to a double DQ. Because the referee gets knocked down by both Whitmer and then Raymond Rowe. So then Whitmer kicks the referee. Rowe hits a Superman punch on BJ. Whole sorts of brawl. Martinez chokeslams Rowe off the apron for a table. And then Hanson gets taken to the mat. Then Kevin goes up to him and calls him Todd. And says, Todd, do you remember me taking you to the matches? And bringing my belts into the ring? I knew that you'd be a devious person. The universe has told me something. It says that you, Todd, used to call yourself Steve New School Corino. In the universe, two people cannot coexist with the same body. It is survival of the fittest. And Kevin tells Steve to come to the ring and play his music. Corino comes out. And Sullivan whispers something into Corino's ear and then whispers something else saying, let him live. Then Corino gets in Hanson's face. They circle each other and then leave on opposite sides of the ring. Why the fuck are we doing this cunt stupid shit?
Gotta continue it so we can end it.
This is why Ring of Honor cannot be considered a good promotion right now. Because this shit is happening. We're made to believe that fucking Hanson is the same person as Steve Corino.
That's very weird, to say the least.
It's not even weird.
Oh no, it's weird.
Stupid. It's fucking stupid, that's what it is. Anyway, let's get into something that I do care about. Main event. The Briscoes, Jay Lethal and Silas Young versus Sabin and Shelley, along with Jay White and Leo Rush. Man, this was a good match. Mainly because of the people that were in it. Went over an advert break, probably about 15 minutes or so, give or take. And it was White actually getting the win, somewhat of an upset.
He beat Mark with the Kiwi Crusher.
Yeah. Which I think means White is still unbeaten of sorts.
Yeah.
In case you're interested, oh wow! So although the actual news hasn't come out yet from from Monsieur Dave, we do have the ratings from this past weekend. Cole and O'Reilly got a 4, along with Miz and Ziggler. 4.25 scores. The triple threat with Skrull, Ospreay, and Dragon Lee, and Young Bucks and the Briscoes. But the match of the weekend was Styles versus Ambrose with a 4.5. Interestingly, the worst match was either the Wyatt family versus Slater and White Rhino, or Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Apparently, he thought Nikki Bella and Carmella was better by a quarter star than Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss. Sometimes I wonder what the hell Dave is smoking. Bloody hell. But there you go. I guess the news from Dave will have to come next week like it did this week and the week before.
Well, before we go anywhere, it's interesting you mentioned him. Ring of Honor will be bringing Manhattan Mayhem back to the Hammerstein Ballroom on March 4th. So tickets will be going on sale. Went on sale to ringside members yesterday at 10 a.m. General public tickets go on sale tomorrow or Friday, December 9th, if you're able to get it. The only way to guarantee your seat is to be a ringside member. Ringside membership will give you exclusive access to special Ring of Honor content and the chance to catch the online television show early, discounts on merchandise and exclusive pre-orders, and tickets before they're available to the general public. So that's going to be March 4th, 7:30 p.m. bell time, the Hammerstein Ballroom at Manhattan Center for Manhattan Mayhem. So that is another huge Ring of Honor show coming.
That's probably TV tapings leading into WrestleMania weekend.
You are 100% correct with that. And since we bring him up on the regular, we here on the Popcast Network would like to wish a very happy birthday to Dave Shearer, actually. We always talk about Meltzer, but I can't not mention Dave Shearer as well. Since we bring up Pro Wrestling Insider on the regular, I think it makes sense that we say that.
There's some good stuff on there as well.
Indeed. So I think that's our show.
Yeah.
Long show. Sorry about that. But we had some fun tonight. A really rocky start off the show. My apologies for that.
It would have been shorter. One, had it been for less technical issues. And two, that fucking bitch.
Yeah.
If she doesn't get Christmas #1, why the fuck are we bothered?
All right. So I think on that note, that's our show. Real quick, thank you to everyone in live chat tonight. Thanks to Acer and Jeremy Mills and Will and AJ the Rockstar. Everybody that showed up in live chat tonight, thank you again. Wrestling fans will join you again on Monday for our Raw Popcast as soon as Raw is over. Probably Scott coming back, maybe some more. We'll find out who's going to be joining us for Monday night as we go into the Road to Roadblock, Walking Dead Into the Line, which is going to be in, what, a week from this week?
Mm-hmm.
God, craziness. So before we go anywhere, Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
Find me on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK. Check out other shows like this on SNSRadioNetwork.com. Game with Ash will be on over the weekend. Looking at Game Awards and PSX and probably something else. Probably not, but whatever.
Ashley did a sip and snack recently. That's available here on the network as well. It went up yesterday, so check that out. AJ's movie reviews this week is going to be rather interesting. AJ's movie reviews is going to be, this is so weird. It's going to be Nocturnal Animals, Incarnate, Office Christmas Party, and Miss Sloane. That's coming your way on Friday. Versus comes your way. Your Cryptic Comet is East meets West. That's going to be on Sunday. Gaming with Ash on Saturday. And this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the elite of the Popcast Network will be bringing you our first Halloween Horror Nights 27 Speculation and Rumors Popcast. That's going to be coming your way. Plus, it's the first official debut of Mockingjay. Those of you who may know Mockingjay from Twitter, OU Mockingjay, she's going to be officially making her debut as a member of the elite of the Popcast Network. That's coming your way this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out the network on Twitter at Popcast Network. Check me out on Twitter if you'd like at Soro and Disney. And we have a Zazzle store. It's at Popcast Network. Our Facebook fan page, thanks to you out there that have liked our Facebook fan page, is Popcast Network. And if you really like what you're hearing, spread the word by taking care of our Patreon. Yeah, we have that now. It's under Popcast Network. So that being said, wrestling fans will join you again on Monday. All the content on the Popcast Network is forthcoming, so we got a lot of really cool things coming. 2017 is going to be a big year for the Popcast Network, like I just said on the Facebook fan page a little bit ago. And I promise you, great things are coming. It's going to be a great time to be a fan of the network. So that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we are very pleased that One Sports Tonight, you have chosen a podcast. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Stay in school, kids. Don't think that you're 13 years old and you can make a career out of fucking YouTube.